Chapter 74. If the Spirit King was in the outside world, it would be enough to sweep away all awakened soul cultivators. Even if it was sealed in the ancient tomb, it was still a formidable existence. But Chu Tian had killed it with a single punch. Yun Yao's heart was filled with shock that could not be described. There were some people in this world that could awaken two source spirits. This kind of person was 1 in 100 million. But having two source spirits was not necessarily a good thing. Because a person's soul's potential was limited, even if one source spirit was born, there was still a difference in quality, not to mention two source spirits. A source spirit represented a cultivator's talent. It was better to be strong than to have more. It was better to be refined than to have more. If a strong source spirit were to split, it could turn into two normal source spirits. It would not be worth it. Chu Tian's two source spirits, whether it was the sword source spirit or the shadow source spirit, they were all top-grade source spirits, especially the shadow source spirit that had the power of a ghost or god. Because of his cultivation base, he could not see it clearly, but it was at least a god-level source spirit. The main source spirit was too much of a drain on his body. Chu Tian was very weak. He quickly took out the yuan essence grass and swallowed the rest. It was really thrilling, if not for Yun Yao using the Thunder Spirit Bead to weaken the Spirit King, if not for Mo Yan's sneak attack to distract the Spirit King, if not for Chu Tian opening his mind's eye and finding the Spirit King's weakness. How could it be so easy? The Spirit King turned into a giant Spirit Pearl. The surface of the Spirit Pearl was covered in a blue-white flame. Fire Seed. Mo Yan revealed a very disappointed expression. I wanted to find a ready-made netherworld flame, but who would have thought that the netherworld flame had already been refined by the Spirit King? Cultivating a fire seed is very difficult. It requires a lot of time and energy. The spiritual flame was not an artifact, nor was it a cultivation technique. But it was like an artifact and a cultivation technique. The spiritual flame could be directly used, instantly increasing the user's strength. The spiritual flame seed needed to be cultivated slowly. The entire process required a lot of materials and time. It was like cultivating a cultivation technique. The ancient tomb's netherworld flame was gone. There was only 1,000-year-old netherworld flame seed left. In terms of potential, the netherworld flame seed that the Spirit King had refined for 1,000 years was actually much stronger than a normal netherworld flame. This was not just a normal netherworld flame, it had been infused with the Spirit King's 1,000-year ghost energy, becoming a 1,000-year netherworld ghost flame. If this fire seed was properly nurtured, it would grow into a strange flame that was even stronger than the netherworld flame. However, nurturing a tinder was easier said than done. The consumption of resources was a bottomless pit. Although he wasn't too satisfied, it was better than nothing. Mo Yan didn't stand on ceremony and went to pick up the fire seed. Yun Yao stood to the side holding the Thunder Spirit Bead, her eyes staring at Mo Yan and Chu Tian. Her eyes flashed. Now with the Thunder Spirit Bead in her hand, her battle strength could be said to have increased by several times. She had absolute confidence that she could defeat Chu Tian. Mo Yan was not a threat. Should he take his revenge immediately? Chu Tian was not an idiot. He had given the Thunder Spirit Bead to Yun Yao as a last resort. Now that the Spirit King had been eliminated, Yun Yao was the biggest threat. Mo Yan's heart slightly trembled when he saw the heavy atmosphere. Not good. If the Purple Lightning Prince were to act now. Even if the two of them joined hands, they might not be able to block the Thunder Spirit Bead. Mo Yan looked at Chu Tian. The moment their eyes met, they immediately reached a tacit understanding. If the Purple Lightning Prince attacked anyone, the two of them would join hands to deal with her. The three of them pulled apart. They were all on guard against each other. What they were thinking in their hearts, only they knew. At this time, Mo Yan suddenly thought of something. He looked around. Strange, old brother Wan shouldn't have died. Why is he gone? That's right. Where did Wan Wui go? He couldn't even be found in the main hall. Impossible. He couldn't have left here. He had used the Yin Wind sword art to hide himself. Not good. Chu Tian discovered something. He looked at Yun Yao. Behind you. Yun Yao's body trembled. She had been paying attention to Chu Tian and Mo Yen, afraid that the two of them would join hands to steal the Thunder Spirit Bead. She did not guard against a sneak attack from behind. An extremely cold and sharp aura suddenly erupted. A terrifying killing intent surged out. Yun Yao's heart was shocked. She wanted to dodge, but it was too late. Pooh! A sharp sword chi pierced through her back, coming out of her chest. A large amount of blood flew out. Yun Yao's beautiful eyes popped out. She felt her strength being sucked out. She fell backwards. Ha, ha, ha. Mine. It's all mine. Wan Wui took out a rag, quickly wrapped the Thunder Spirit Bead, directly placing it into his chest. He stepped over Yun Yao's body, his face filled with greed as he looked at Chu Tian and Mo Yen. Mo Yen revealed a shocked expression. The Purple Lightning young master is a member of the Central State Yun family. Aren't you afraid of Yun Tianhe's revenge by killing her? With Yun Tianhe's reputation, who wouldn't be afraid? But there are only the few of us here. Dead people will never speak. Mo Yan's eyes filled with fear. You can die now. Yin Wind Ghost Slash. Wan Wui used the Yin Wind Sword Art. His body once again disappeared. Mo Yan's heart was filled with shock. The name of the Yin Wind Swordsman was not just for show. The Yin Wind Sword Art came and went without a trace. It was one of the top assassination techniques of Southern Xia. Wan Wui had practiced the Yin Wind Sword Art for over 20 years. He had already practiced the Yin Wind Sword Art to the large success realm. If Mo Yen was in a normal situation, he would still be able to block it. But now that his spirit energy was consumed and he was heavily injured by the Spirit King, how could he deal with the Yin Wind Sword Art? I've been friends with you for so many years, you actually want to kill me to silence me. Mo Yen angrily roared. Both his hands released thick black flames, preparing to form a barrier around him, but when the black flames were about to close, a sword glow came through the gap. Mo Yan's eyes popped out. The world spun around him. He fell to the ground. The last thing he saw in his life was a very familiar headless body. Yun Yao was lying in a pool of blood. Mo Yan's head was separated from his body. Wan Wui calmly appeared, picking up the Netherworld Flame Spirit Bead. Ha, 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 the 1000-year Netherworld Flame is mine. Such a fierce fellow. Chu Tian had underestimated him. Killing people to steal their treasures, perhaps this wasn't the first time. Wan Wui's malicious eyes stared at Chu Tian. Brat, it's all thanks to you. You and the Spirit King were both injured, giving me the chance to attack. I still have to thank you. I have to admit, you're stronger than I thought, but now that you're exhausted, can you still block my sword? Wan Wui did not know that Chu Tian had used the 1000-year Yuan Essence Grass. His spirit energy had already recovered by half. Chu Tian did not dare be careless. The Yin Wind Swordsman's strength was not small. He was also an experienced person. His moves were very fierce. Each move was fatal. He could not look down on him. My sword is very fast. You won't feel any pain. I've heard that those that die in the ancient tomb, their souls will never be able to escape. They will be imprisoned here, finally turning into ghosts. Enjoy it. Ha, 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 ha. As soon as his voice fell. So. Wan Wui instantly disappeared. Just like an invisible cold wind. This was the strength of the Yin Wind Sword Art. Every time it was used it was invisible, making people unable to see it. Wan Wui's sword art was very high. Not only could it not be seen with the naked eye, even sound and gas were completely hidden. Normal cultivators had no way of breaking it. Chu Tian slowly retreated, letting his back lean against a pillar. His eyes swept across the hall, coldly saying, "Your sword art is just a low-level assassination technique. It's not even worthy of being on the stage. Dead duck's mouth is tight. I'll let you taste the power of the Yin Wind Sword Art." Wan Wui's voice was erratic, wandering back and forth. It was impossible to find the source, but Chu Tian felt a trace of killing intent. His mouth couldn't help but form a sneer. Killing intent could not be suppressed. This kind of assassination technique, to say it was low level was already praising it. Go die. Wan Wui was about to make his move. Mind's eye. Chu Tian opened his mind's eye. instantly understanding everything. The moment Wan Wui slashed out, behind Chu Tian appeared a vague sword image. Shua! Shua! Two sword lights appeared in the air at the same time. One of the sword lights cut through Chu Tian's glass body, leaving a sword mark on the pillar behind him. The other sword light cut through Wan Wui's body, from his left shoulder to his right abdomen. Wan Wui's eyes widened in fear, his mouth opened and closed, like a fish out of water. Half of his body fell down, blood bloomed like a flower, splashing all over the ground. Dead! Chu Tian clutched the deep wound on his chest, coughing twice. His injuries were not light. He struggled to walk over to Wan Wui's body, taking out the Thunder Spirit Bead and the Spirit Bead. The Yin Wind sword art is only a so-so. Chu Tian took out a jade bottle, pouring a bit of life essence water into the wound on his chest. His flesh quickly squirmed, immediately stopping the bleeding. Mo Yen could not be saved. Chu Tian searched Mo Yen's body for a while and found a large pile of bottles and jars. Mo Yen was an alchemist after all, so he definitely had a lot of pills on him, but in Chu Tian's eyes, these things were very rough. Mo Yen mainly refined poison. Out of 10 bottles, 9 of them were poison pills. At this time, Yunyao had not died. She was gasping for breath. Because of the loss of blood, her face was pale, cold. I'm so cold. Am I going to die? Even in her dreams, Yunyao did not think this would happen. She had always held herself high. How could she have ever thought that she would die here without anyone knowing? Yunyao understood her grandfather's warning. This world was too sinister. What use was there even if you were talented? No wonder the Chu family, Luo family, and Ye family did not let their geniuses go out to gain experience. Before a genius grows up, they can fall at any time. If she knew it would be like this, she shouldn't have snuck out. Chu Tian helped Yunyao up, his 2 hands pulled at her chest, tearing her clothes apart. 2 snow-white mountains were revealed. It had to be said, although it was not as big as a young miss, it was still very firm, enough to arouse a man's desire. A piercing wound that was constantly gushing out blood made people feel bad just by looking at it. Yunyao could be considered lucky. Because when she heard the warning, she slightly moved half an inch, so her heart was not pierced, otherwise she would not have lived until now. Yunyao was angry. What are you doing? Even if I die, I won't allow you to sully me. Chu Tian held the jade bottle in his hand. First he poured a small mouthful into Yunyao's mouth, then he poured a little on the wound. Yunyao clearly felt the wound on her chest itch, gradually healing her flesh. You. Yunyao revealed a look of disbelief. Why did you save me? That's right. Chu Tian patted his head. My brain must have gotten water. Why would I save you? Damn it. I wasted half a bottle of life essence water. Yunyao almost spat out blood. Isn't it just a bottle of life essence water? If you go to Central State City, I'll give you back 10 bottles. Chu Tian had a face of disbelief. Don't think I don't know, you're planning to kill me in your heart. Yunyao's face turned slightly red. I just thought of killing you. But you saved my life, so our grudges are even. Do you mean it? What benefit would I get from killing you? Alright, I'll believe you this once. Chu Tian glanced at her white and large chest. Yunyao quickly pulled up her clothes, but in the end she angrily found that her clothes had been torn apart by Chu Tian, so she couldn't cover her chest at all. She could only use her hands to cover it, angrily staring at Chu Tian. Control your eyes. I don't care, I've seen bigger ones. Chu Tian spat out, making Yunyao's teeth itch. He casually threw the cloth bag over. You can hold on to this thing for now. Yunyao revealed an excited expression, holding the Thunder Spirit Bead like it was a treasure. You're really giving it to me? What do you mean give it to you? In your dreams, I'm just lending it to you. Since I can't use it, with it in your hands, you can use it as a helper. Lending? Then I'll lend it to you for 100 years. Now that this treasure has fallen into my hands, don't even think of making me return it. Yunyao wiped the dust off the Thunder Spirit Bead, her beautiful face filled with pleasant surprise. The reason she participated in this adventure was because she heard that there was a thunder spirit bead buried in the ancient tomb. Now that he had gotten his hands on it as he wished, his grandfather would definitely be shocked. Actually, Chu Tian was probing Yun Yao. If Yun Yao obtained the thunder spirit bead, even if she had a trace of killing intent, Chu Tian would not show any mercy, he would kill this girl on the spot. At this distance, he wouldn't miss. From Yun Yao's expression, she was only pleasantly surprised. Without any other emotions, Chu Tian was a little relieved. The thunder spirit bead was indeed a treasure. It was a pity that Chu Tian couldn't use it. There was no one on his side that could use it. Then they had to go to the third floor of the ancient tomb. A spirit king was this hard to deal with? A corpse king would be 10 times more dangerous. He really didn't know how strong it would be. To be honest, Chu Tian was already a little regretful, but there was nothing he could do about it. Words said were like water spilled. He had promised to help the bronze-masked old man. Running away was not his style. Yun Yao was not weak, she also had the thunder spirit bead. Dealing with the corpse king would increase her chances of winning. Yun Yao was finding it harder and harder to see through Chu Tian. What's your name? Lu Ren. Passerby. Yun Yao rolled her eyes in her heart. He really lived up to his name. It really was a good name. When I saw you deal with Wan Wui, you completely saw through his movements. It seemed like you used mind's eye. Chu Tian picked up the spirit beads and casually said, "That's right, it's mind's eye." Yun Yao's body trembled. She couldn't help feeling a little bitter. She had always thought she was a genius. Until now, when she met this passerby, she finally realized how laughable her thoughts were. Mind's eye. An ability that even her grandfather yearned for. Such an unknown passerby had actually mastered it. Yun Yao had always been unconvinced, but now she didn't have this kind of thought. Dual source spirits, mind's eye, a strong defensive cultivation technique, this was enough for Yun Yao to look up to. There's a dark hall here. Come help me. Chu Tian found a secret door and the two of them worked together to push it open. When the scene of the dark hall appeared in front of them, the two of them were stunned. The entire dark hall was densely packed with materials, equipment, and weapons. The amount was so great that it was shocking. It was very regrettable. Because of the long period of time, the equipment and materials were not specially protected, so they were all rotten. Other than one thing. Chu Tian's eyes were attracted to it. A simple and unadorned longsword was placed on the throne in the high hall. Although it had been kept for 1,000 years. But it was untainted by even a speck of dust. The 3-foot-long sword edge was as beautiful as an ice crystal, covered in complex profound runes. An ancient and strong aura was released from the sword. Yun Yao muttered, "This ancient sword is..." Chapter 75. Chu Tian picked up Wan Wui's sword and slashed at the ancient sword. With a loud sound, the treasure sword broke in half, not even a single mark was left on the ancient sword. There was no need to guess. The Netherworld sword without a doubt. The Thunder Spirit Bead, Netherworld Flame, and ancient Netherworld sword, the 3 treasures of the Netherworld Hall were in his hands. Chu Tian had the Demon God Sword Source Spirit, the Netherworld Sword's value to Chu Tian, it was even higher than the Thunder Spirit Bead and Netherworld Flame combined. Yun Yao resentfully said from the side, "Don't blame me for not reminding you. The ancient Netherworld Sword is an evil sword, not to mention whether it can accept you, even if it accepts you. The owner will often have their thoughts corroded during the process of using it, gradually becoming bloodthirsty and crazy, finally losing themselves. Do you want this sword?" Chu Tian was a little surprised. Yun Yao wanted him to die earlier. Now that she was giving him a kind reminder, it seemed like her attitude had already changed. Actually, it was like Yun Yao said, the Netherworld sword was the same as the Thunder Spirit Bead, it was a soul-contracting weapon. A soul-contracting weapon had its own consciousness, it had the ability to choose its master. Unless one's strength surpassed the soul-contracting weapon and was tamed over a long period of time, it could only be accepted by the soul-contracting weapon. If the Netherworld sword did not accept Chu Tian, then Chu Tian would not be able to do anything to it. Let's try our luck. Chu Tian grabbed the sword hilt and the ancient consciousness that was sleeping inside the Netherworld sword awoke. A bone-piercing chill erupted. It was as if it wasn't a sword, but a 10,000-year-old piece of ice that was even harder than a diamond. The cold feeling surged into his meridians and traveled to every part of his body, trying to freeze his mind, spirit, and soul. Chu Tian felt like he had been pulled into a mysterious space. The ground was covered in broken bones and the surroundings were filled with screeching undead. A giant demon stood in front of him. Its appearance was fierce and ugly, its body was covered in blue and white flames. It was locked in the center of the main hall, unscrupulously swallowing the surrounding undead. Roar! When it discovered that Chu Tian had charged in, the burning demon angrily stood up, letting out a few sneers. A giant palm reached out to grab him, instantly hundreds of ghosts cried out, its momentum was incomparably terrifying. What a good ghost sword! Chu Tian was secretly shocked. The illusion was created by the artifact spirit, and it was not inferior to a mental attack. However, the more it was like this, the more it proved that this sword was extraordinary. Since it could use illusions to interfere with its wielder, it could also use illusions to deal with enemies. This sword. I want it. Chu Tian released a ferocious shadow source spirit. When the demonic hand touched it, it was like it had touched a burning hot iron. With a mournful cry, it quickly retreated. The Netherworld sword's weapon spirit was covered in a vast divine might. It curled up on the ground, trembling in fear. Its aura was constantly weakening. Chu Tian walked over step by step. I don't know where you are from. I am your master now. You must listen to me obediently. Otherwise, I'd rather destroy you. The shadow source spirit opened an eye. What kind of eye was it? He took a look. His entire mind and spirit would be destroyed. The artifact spirit completely gave up resisting, and its entire body vanished into thin air. When the artifact spirit disappeared, a giant stone tablet was left behind. It was covered in dense ancient characters. It was a cultivation technique, Netherworld Flame Sword. Chu Tian's lips curled into a satisfied smile. The Netherworld sword was not just a strong weapon, it also carried an inherited cultivation technique. Only by being recognized by the weapon spirit could one obtain the cultivation technique inheritance. If one used a barbaric refining method, even if they controlled the Netherworld sword, they would not be able to obtain the Netherworld sword's inheritance. The Netherworld Flame Sword could be traced back to the distant Great Ancient Era. It was derived from an incomplete Supreme Sword art. It was unpredictable and could kill people without leaving a trace, but it could only be used with the help of the Netherworld Ghost Flame. The Netherworld Flame Sword's style was similar to Wan Wui's Yin Wine sword art, but it was much stronger than the Yin Wind sword art. This was because the Yin Wind sword art was a pure assassination sword art. It did not have much strength. This Netherworld Flame Sword was different. Not only did it have a strong assassination ability, it was not inferior to Central State's Soul Sword's secret art. It was definitely a strong sword art. But the Netherworld Flame Sword had to be cultivated together with the Netherworld Ghost Flame and the Netherworld Sword. It would become Chu Tian's unique sword art. No one could learn it. Chu Tian had obtained the Netherworld sword and the sword art. It made up for his lack of attack power. Adding in the demon god sword source spirit strengthening, its might would be very impressive. The new cultivation technique would not be easy to cultivate. He would go back first and slowly cultivate it. Chu Tian came out from the spiritual space and casually raised the Netherworld sword. This sword has a bit of skill, but it doesn't have the ability to disturb my mind. Come with me, I can't take the Thunder Spirit bead for free. I need your help with something. Chu Tian's tone was very firm. Yunyao could not reject him even if she wanted to. This fellow had saved her before, but his attitude was very irritating. Yunyao had no choice but to obey because if they really fought, the Netherworld sword would cancel out the Thunder Spirit bead's power. She would not be Chu Tian's opponent. This fellow was very irritating, but it was a fact that he had saved her life. Yunyao had also taken advantage of the Thunder Spirit bead. She did not have any plans to take revenge. Alright, I'll give face to the Thunder Spirit bead. The two of them had their soul-contracting weapons, killing demons and ghosts. Their path was smooth and they finally arrived at the third floor of the ancient tomb. In the gloomy tomb, there were over 100 coffins, most of them had their lids opened and there were corpses scattered around. It was a very terrifying scene. Ah, Lu Ren. A gentle and familiar voice rang out, "You're finally here." Kai Dai was wearing a golden silk robe as she walked over. The bronze-masked old man and the flame ghost brothers were sitting on the coffins. Why did he rope in 7 to 8 people he didn't know? The bronze-masked old man had gathered 5 cultivators, most of them were roped in, each one of them was not weak. What was special was that all 5 of them used long blades. The leader was the most eye-catching. It was a young man around 25 or 26 years old, wearing a golden scale armor, holding a scarlet-red long blade. He had red hair, a tall stature, his body was filled with an intense aura. This person was an expert. He was at least at the second awakened soul layer. "Why are you so slow? I thought you died in the first 2 floors." The bronze-masked old man's voice was a bit unhappy, but his eyes fell onto Yunyao. He couldn't help feeling a bit of fear. "Purple lightning, young master. Why are you here?" Chu Tian did not answer the question. He looked over the 5 swordsmen and asked, "These people are?" "They are the helpers I found." The bronze-masked old man lightly explained, "These 5 are the famous Central State 5 blades. This red-haired swordsman is called Yang Zhan. He has mastered the Blood Rage blade, he has a strong killing intent, he has the bravery of 10,000 men." Chu Tian nodded. The bronze-masked old man was not stupid. He knew how strong the Corpse King was, so he didn't know what kind of conditions he used to find these 5 powerful people. The bronze-masked old man introduced them to the 5 people. "This little friend is the person we've been waiting for. Now that everyone is here, we pay." The red-haired swordsman stood up with a face full of dissatisfaction. "You made our brothers wait for half a day. In the end it was all for this wet behind the ears brat? Do you know how many treasures we could have found in the time we wasted?" "That's right. Fuck. I thought it was the purple lightning young master. I never thought it would be this guy who hasn't even grown hair yet." The 5 of them began to complain, their eyes were clearly not friendly. The bronze-masked old man was also very confused. "Where did you go?" Chu Tian did not hide it. "We went to the Nether Palace." "The 2 of you went to the Nether Palace?" The bronze-masked old man's face changed. He found it a bit hard to believe. "You can still come back alive. Look clearly." Yunyao showed the Thunder Spirit bead. "We didn't just come back alive." When the bronze-masked old man saw the Thunder Spirit bead, his pupils couldn't help shrinking. He also saw the Netherworld sword in Chu Tian's hand. His breathing became rapid. "Are you selling the sword? Just name a price." "Any price is fine." Chu Tian gently swung the Netherworld sword, leaving behind a series of afterimages in the air. "I'm very used to this sword. I don't have any plans to sell it." The red-haired swordsman Yang Zhan revealed a greedy look. "Although I don't know what kind of dog shit luck you have, actually being able to take this sword out of the Nether Palace. But you've wasted so much time, you should at least give us some compensation." Another swordsman said, "We'll use this sword to make up for everyone's losses." Yang Zhan looked at the bronze-masked old man and said, "Since the bronze-masked old man wants this sword, how about us brothers help you get it? Anyways, in the Corpse King hunt, it doesn't matter if we have this little brat or not." Truthfully. At this moment, the bronze-masked old man was a little moved. The Netherworld sword was a soul-contracting weapon. This, Central State 5 Blades, was actually a group of bandits. They specialized in killing people and stealing their goods. Kai Dai was very angry. "How can you be like this? Little girl, scram to the side. There's no place for you to interrupt here." The 5 of them had green wolf-like eyes. They greedily stared at the Netherworld sword in Chu Tian's hand. "Since you can't buy it, are you prepared to kill us and steal it?" Yunyao suddenly laughed. Is this the style of your great Zhou country? The purple lightning young master was helping this brat. Could it be she was standing on this brat's side? The bronze-masked old man, the ghost flame and ice demon brothers, and the 5 swordsmen, were all filled with fear. If this brat was alone, they could take the netherworld sword. His strength wasn't bad, but in comparison, the netherworld sword was more valuable. If Yunyao helped Chu Tian, then the result would be different. Yunyao had the thunder spirit bead. It was hard to deal with. Once she made a move, she would lose the battle strength of 2 people to deal with the corpse king. Wan Wui died under his hands. Do you think your 5 broken swords are faster and sharper than the Yin Wind sword? Yunyao coldly said, not to mention the netherworld sword, even without this sword, you trash are not his match. What? This brat killed the Yin Wind swordsman. Even if the Yin Wind swordsman was sealed in the ancient tomb, but with the large success stage Yin Wind sword art, how could it be blocked by ordinary people? The bronze-masked old man personally fought Wan Wui. His chances of winning were only 50%. If this central state 5 swords fought Wan Wui alone, they wouldn't even know how they were killed. This old man is a businessman. Even if the business fails, I will still be benevolent. Things like buying and selling, naturally I won't do it. The bronze-masked old man looked at the 5 of them. He said in a very impolite tone, please pay attention to your words. You're not allowed to say these kinds of words again, otherwise don't blame me for being impolite. Yang Zhan coldly snorted. He didn't say anything else. However, it wasn't hard to see from his eyes, he didn't believe that Chu Tian could kill the Yin Wind swordsman. A young man that didn't even have hair and no reputation, how could he be this strong? Most likely it was the Purple Lightning young master's words, most likely it was because of the Purple Lightning young master's care that he was able to come to the 3rd floor. But, just based on the fact that he had a close relationship with the Purple Lightning young master, the 5 Yang Zhan brothers were a bit afraid of him. Chu Tian didn't say anything, he acted as if nothing had happened. Kai Dai, where did you get those clothes? My luck was good, I found them on the 2nd floor. Kai Dai gave an embarrassed smile. This is a fire-repelling robe. Central State City once auctioned one. It was sold for a total of 200 million gold coins. Other than the robe, I also found many other treasures. Kai Dai looked very satisfied. Chu Tian understood in his heart, these were all relics of cultivators. To a normal cultivator it would be good, but to Kai Dai, it wasn't anything. But Kai Dai seemed to be enjoying the treasure hunting process. Among the people that came to search for treasures, there was no one with a better mentality than Kai Dai. Yang Zhan and the others were a bit angry. They didn't know if there was a problem with this brat's brain, or if he was deliberately treating them like air. Chu Tian wasn't afraid of the 5 brothers. But now was not the time to be hostile. It didn't matter what the bronze-masked old man thought. Because he had to obtain the infant soul fruit, Chu Tian didn't have much time left. The infant soul fruit was the only thing that could let Chu Tian quickly break through to the awakened soul realm. Our current situation is a bit bad. The bronze-masked old man gave a dry cough. He gave a light cough and said, the giant spirit scholar has gathered a large group of people to go to the corpse storage cave. Chu Tian curiously asked, corpse storage cave? From the information, the corpse storage cave is the ancient sect's corpse soldier warehouse. After the Yin corpses are refined, they are all stored in the corpse storage cave. This cave is very complex, there are many layers of restrictions, it is very dangerous, but there is a hidden treasure, the soul-controlling bell. I've heard of this thing before. Yunyao still had a cold expression. The soul-controlling bell can awaken corpse soldiers, it can control these strong human-shaped weapons. The ancient tomb Yin corpses were not small. Even if he brought 3 to 5 of them, he would be able to sweep away everyone. The soul-controlling bell, Yang Kuan is determined to obtain it, he has made ample preparations this time. The bronze-masked old man said with a dignified expression, this person has a cruel temperament. Once he obtains the soul-controlling bell, he will awaken the corpse soldiers, the others will be surrounded by the corpse soldiers. Yunyao coldly snorted and said, kill him. The bronze-masked old man shook his head and said, Yang Kuan has cultivated the giant spirit golden body to the large success realm. This is a very strong body refinement cultivation technique. You are people of southern Xia, you should understand it better than me. Yun Yao, Kai Dai, and Yang Zhan all knit their brows. Yang Kuan was very famous among rogue cultivators. The more profound the giant spirit golden body was, the stronger one's body would become, bones as strong as iron, skin as copper, blood as mercury, body as hard as diamond, strength as large as an elephant. Although he entered the ancient tomb, his spirit energy was suppressed, but with his terrifying demon beast-like body, his battle strength was the highest among all the awakened soul cultivators. Even if Yunyao had the thunder spirit bead, she did not have the confidence to break his defense. After all, under the suppression of the ancient tomb, she could only display the battle strength of a peak 9th body refinement layer cultivator. If it was a bit earlier, we might have been able to fight for it, but now they are already far away, we can't catch up. This broken ancient tomb, there were many palaces, there were many chambers. How could there be so many treasures? After all these years, they still haven't been taken. Chu Tian thought for a few seconds. Don't close it all, I'll go to the main tomb and deal with the corpse king first. Chapter 76. There were many treasures buried in the ancient tomb, it was impossible to obtain all of them, right? The so-called biting off more than one could chew, only taking the most important ones was enough. The bronze-masked old man pulled out an old piece of parchment. Everyone please take a look. This is a rough map of the ancient tomb. As long as we follow the marked path, we can at least avoid the traps on the way and guarantee we won't get lost. Then what are we waiting for? There's not much time left, let's go. The 10,000 corpse ancient tomb was very large, there were over 200 rooms marked on the map, there were many complicated tunnels and caves. If they didn't have the ancient tomb map, who knows how much time they would have wasted. The ancient tomb was only open for 2 days. There were many Yin corpses along the way, all of them were black corpses. If it wasn't for the ancient tomb's restriction, they would all be top-level experts. ZZZZ. The thunder spirit bead released lightning that instantly took care of the black corpses. Chu Tian impolitely dug out the corpse cores one by one. As he was putting the corpse cores in his pocket, a blood-red saber chi whistled as it cut towards his arm. Chu Tian quickly pulled back his hand, the saber chi passed by, leaving a mark on the ground. Too dangerous. If he was half a second slower, his arm would have been gone. Kai Dai angrily looked at Yang Zhan and said, "You actually sneak attacked Chu Tian." Yang Zhan held the saber in his hand and coldly said, "He took something he shouldn't have, breaking his arm is already the lightest punishment." "That's right, daring to embezzle the spoils of war. Quickly hand it over." Chu Tian faced the 5 aggressive people, he calmly said, "According to the agreement, half is mine, the other half is yours." Yang Zhan flew into a rage, "Why? What kind of bullshit agreement is this?" Chu Tian lightly said, "The bronze-masked old man wouldn't go back on his word for a few corpse cores, right? Each black corpse core could be exchanged for an elixir." How could Yang Zhan's group not be angry? They were robbers, they were overbearing, they never suffered a loss. How could they let a little brat who hadn't even grown his hair take advantage of them? The bronze-masked old man also revealed a pained expression, but he still nodded, "You can take it. You old man, we brothers helped you out of kindness, and this is how you repay us. That little bastard is nothing. If he didn't have a woman by his side to support him, I would have chopped him up long ago." Yunyao silently cursed him for being an idiot. Yang Zhan stared at the bronze-masked old man and shouted, "You are a dignified great Zhou country's outer sect elder, if you don't even dare let out a fart, wouldn't that damage the dignity of a large sect?" The bronze-masked old man's face was expressionless as he coldly said, "We've already discussed the price, you won't miss a single copper, now I have the final say." The 5 young brothers were filled with resentment. As the saying goes, it's hard to satisfy one's greed. One after another, corpse cores of astonishing value were smilingly taken by Chu Tian. How could they not be jealous? He really didn't know what medicine the bronze-masked old man ate. So polite to this kid. Everyone passed through another 8 palaces, killing over 200 Blackeen corpses. At this time, the Pathfinder Flame Ghost ran in front of the bronze-masked old man. Sir Elder, in front of us is the precipice. The tomb was gloomy and suffused with the aura of death. Amidst the hazy and strange mist, an incomparably pitch-black colossus stood before them. It was like a ferocious beast that had been locked here since time immemorial, and it gave others a strong oppressive feeling. This was a 100-meter high, 90-degree precipice. The most attractive thing was not the precipice itself, but rather in front of the precipice were thousands of ancient sarcophagi. These sarcophagi were all made of black material. The surface was covered in a network of lines, glowing a scarlet red, like layers of blood veins. What was even more strange was that the sarcophagi were supported by a mysterious power. All of them were floating in the air. For tens of thousands of years. They had never fallen. This terrifying scene, it was a shocking effect. It had a strong impact on people's hearts. The bronze-masked old man muttered, "This is one of the most dangerous places in the ancient tomb, the legendary 10,000 coffin precipice." The dark stone coffins were arranged in a way that was full of profound power Upanishads. They were moving slowly, maintaining a magical pattern. The thick, murderous aura of death rolled over. Not to mention walking over, just standing here made people uncomfortable. Chu Tian said, "This is a giant array formation. Good eyesight, this is called the 3,000 floating coffin array. It is an extremely powerful array from the ancient times." The bronze-masked old man took a deep breath. "It is very dangerous, every step must be taken very carefully, otherwise if we make a wrong step, it is possible that we will awaken the Een corpses sleeping in the coffins." Yunyao could feel that the Een corpses sealed in the coffins were not small. They were not something the wandering Een corpses could compare to. Even if they were separated by a thick sarcophagus. Even if they were separated by a long distance. Yunyao could still feel the pressure coming from the sarcophagus. It was a kind of overwhelming pressure. It made people feel fear. It made people feel suffocated. Thousands of ancient sarcophagi, each one sealed with a strong existence. This spear could be said to be the most spectacular scene she had ever seen in her life. Yunyao knit her brows and asked, "How do we go?" The bronze-masked old man gave a sigh. "Up until now, no one has been able to pass through here, so there is no path. We can only try our luck and explore step by step." Try our luck? Isn't this a joke? No one has ever passed through this place before. You want us to go through it? Everyone's expression became strange, especially the Yang Zhan brothers. They felt like they had been tricked. Chu Tian observed the floating coffin array and said, "Not necessarily. From what I can see, the 3,000 floating coffin array is based on the moon constellation. I think the path to break through is hidden within." Everyone was shocked. He could see this. The bronze-masked old man asked, "Can you break it?" "I don't think it is difficult." Chu Tian paused and then said, "But to understand the rules, I need a bit of time." Yang Zhan taunted, "An ancient sect using their entire sect to create a large array, even the most powerful array master in Central State City would not dare say they can break it. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Who do you think you are?" The bronze-masked old man angrily said, "Shut up." Yang Zhan's face sunk as he said, "We've been enduring and giving you face, but you keep making things difficult for us for this brat. What do you think we 5 brothers are?" The bronze-masked old man knit his brows and said, "The 3,000 floating coffin array is extremely dangerous. The consequences of breaking through are unimaginable. Since little friend has confidence in breaking it, why not give it a try? Of course, if you 5 brothers are willing to take the lead, I have no objections." With these words, Yang Zhan immediately shut up. The bronze-masked old man was also full of doubts, but a strong intuition told him that this young man could not be judged by common sense. Directly breaking through was too dangerous. Chu Tian began to observe the large array with rapt attention. The ancient tomb's creator was not simple. Looking at it from 30,000 years in the past, this array had its merits. But in Chu Tian's eyes, it was still very low level. As long as he could find a flaw, he would be able to safely pass through. But at this time, a deep voice came from the tomb behind them. Ha, 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 ha. Bronze-masked old man, you left in too much of a hurry, it really took me a while to catch up. Everyone's face fell. A clear bell sound floated over, the bell's sound was light, but it clearly echoed in everyone's ears. It had a power that shook people's souls, making them feel a bit absent-minded. Soul-controlling bell. The bronze-masked old man's face fell. Yang Kun, you actually succeeded. You never thought this would happen. Yang Kun walked out from the tomb, holding an ancient bell in his hand. It was half the size of a fist, the surface was ordinary, but it was filled with the aura of time. Over 100 Yin corpses covered in thick black hair, their eyes glowing green, slowly walked out, surrounding them. In addition, there were over 10 cultivators standing around Yang Kun. When the bronze-masked old man looked at them one by one, his expression became more and more serious. These cultivators were not ordinary people. A gloomy old man leaning on a cane stood up. Bronze-masked old man, you didn't stay in the great Zhou country, instead you ran over to southern Xia to get involved. My southern Xia's treasures, how could we let you foreign cultivators steal them? The bronze-masked old man's pitch-black eyes flashed with a purple glow. It was clear he was using some kind of scouting cultivation technique. The old man beside Yang Kun, perhaps he was also a triple awakened soul existence in the outside world. Who is your excellency? This old man is Chu Yun. Chu Yun. The Yang Zhan brothers' faces fell. Chu Yun specialized in the ghost path and was proficient in arrays. He was a famous cultivator in the central state. Ghost cultivator Chu Yun, I've long heard of you, long heard of you. The bronze-masked old man's eyes fell onto a middle-aged man next to Yang Kun. This middle-aged man was tall, but his face was as pale as paper. On his shoulder was a monkey-like monster beast. His body was filled with a strange aura. This must be your excellency Hu Qingyin. This pale-faced middle-aged man slightly raised his head. His eyes were cold. He did not say anything. The bronze-masked old man sighed in his heart. Yang Kun's strength was very strong. In the ancient tomb, there was no one that could match him. With Chu Yun and Hu Qingyin's help, it was no wonder they passed through the corpse storage cave so quickly and obtained the soul-controlling bell. There was no need to mention Chu Yun, a triple awakened soul cultivator. He was not inferior to the bronze-masked old man or the Yin Wind swordsman. The middle-aged man Hu Qingyin was only at the second awakened soul layer. He could not be underestimated. The little monkey-like beast was called the evil-breaking beast. It was the family heirloom. It had been raised for 200 years. The process of raising this beast was very difficult and bloody, but its use was very large. It could break through all the evil beings in the world. Hu Qingyin's grandfather began to raise this beast, continuously passing it down for 3 generations, until it reached Hu Qingyin's hands. This beast was very strong. Hu Qingyin brought this beast. He had the ability to wander the ancient tomb without fear. The strong Yang Kun. The ghost path Chu Yun. The evil-breaking beast Hu Qingyin. In addition, there were 10 cultivators that were not weak, 100 corpse soldiers that could be controlled. The disparity in battle strength, it was like the difference between heaven and earth. Yang Kun had a proud smile on his face. Father won't waste words. Hand over all the treasures you have. Father will give you a quick death. The bronze-masked old man's voice was a bit hoarse. If you kill us, aren't you afraid of retaliation? Retaliation? Ha, ha, ha. Yang Kun raised the ancient bell in his hand. His face revealed a crazed expression. With the soul-controlling bell in my hand, I can control 100 black corpses. Each black corpse has the strength of a second or third awakened soul layer cultivator. With this strong army in my hand, where can southern Xia not go? Even if I go to a large kingdom, it's enough to rule over a territory. Who dares retaliate against me? The soul-controlling bell really was a good thing. They never thought it would fall into the hands of that bastard Yang Kun. Yang Zhan's group of 5 revealed a look of fear. Sir Yang Kun, us 5 brothers have no intention of becoming enemies with you. As long as you spare our lives, we 5 brothers are willing to give you everything we have. We will follow Sir Yang Kun from now on. Central State 5 Blades. Yang Kun rubbed his chin. You guys have some skill. This sir has the soul-controlling bell. I can control 100 corpses, but I'm lacking a few living people. Good, I won't kill you. The bronze-masked old man's face was filled with anger. Despicable bastards. Thank you, Sir Yang Kun. Yang Zhan revealed a look of joy. He immediately left the bronze-masked old man, running to Yang Zhan's side. Without any hesitation he said, Sir Yang, they have the netherworld sword and the thunder spirit bead. Ha, 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 ha. The heavens are helping me. Yang Kun's greedy expression became even more exuberant. With these two treasures and the bronze-masked old man's wealth, we can definitely hold our own. From then on we can establish our own sect. We can also become great people. We don't need to be rogue cultivators anymore. Once he said this, Chu Yun and Hu Qingyin both revealed looks of excitement. Why did the two of them want to help Yang Kun? Wasn't it for this purpose? The Central State Five Blades were rogue cultivators. They were bandits. They were the same kind of people. Moreover, their strength was not bad. They could be taken in. As for the others, they could only die. Kai Dai and Yun Yao were in despair. In front was Yang Kun and the others. Behind them was the 10,000 coffin cliff. Yang Kun's influence was too strong. It was almost impossible to win. The 10,000 coffin cliff was one of the most dangerous places in the ancient tomb. The 3,000 coffins array was famous. It was hard to pass step by step, not to mention trying to force their way through. There was no path of retreat in front. There were pursuers behind. It was impossible to advance or retreat. Facing this hopeless situation, it would be hard to escape. What to do? This was simply an unsolvable situation. While Yun Yao and the bronze-masked old man's hearts were heavy. Pay attention. Chu Tian lowered his voice and said to the others, there is still a chance. Follow me, don't be careless. One wrong step and everything will be ruined. Remember, this is the only chance to live. Chapter 77. There are still many treasures in this ancient tomb waiting for Father to take. Yang Kun shook the bell in his hand. The Yin corpses that were like statues woke up. Their eyes glowed with a green light. It was like a ghost fire was burning. I don't have time to waste with you. There were over 100 black Yin corpses. What a terrifying battle strength. The bronze-masked old man, Yun Yao, Flame Ghost, Ice Demon, and Kai Dai all had ugly expressions. This is bad. What should they do? No matter what they did, it was a dead end. Could they really break through the 3,000 floating coffins? Yang Kun loudly shouted, Brother Chu, Brother Hua, do it. Hey, hey, hey. Chu Yun's body was covered in black demonic flames. An eyeball-shaped source spirit was released. When the demon eye opened, an invisible spiritual energy was released. You can all rest in peace, demon eye illusion. Everyone felt their bodies tremble. A cold wind blew. 100 ghosts cried out. Countless green-faced evil spirits came out of nowhere, holding tridents in their hands, wanting to take their lives. Pang! The bronze-masked old man gave a shout. His voice was like a beast's cry, dispelling the spiritual attack. He loudly shouted, it's just an illusion. Don't panic. Yang Kun coldly snorted and said, this old ghost has some skills. Hu Qingyin was silent. His eyes became sharp. The monkey-like evil-breaking beast was connected to its master. It spat out a thick black fog from its mouth. In the black fog, there were countless struggling demons. They were the demons that had been refined by the evil-breaking beast for the past 200 years. The evil-breaking beast was worthy of being a strange beast. Not only was it the nemesis of evil spirits, it was not inferior to any awakened soul cultivator. Let's go. Chu Tian threw out 2 talismans at the critical moment. A large cloud of smoke burst out, blocking Yang Kun and the others' line of sight. Chu Tian took the lead and charged into the 3,000 floating coffins. Risking their lives. Not risking their lives was also death. Might as well gamble. The bronze-masked old man, Yun Yao, and the others steeled their hearts. They followed Chu Tian. Everyone don't move. Yang Kuan's vision was blocked by the smoke. He immediately shouted to the people beside him, "Behind them is the 3,000 floating coffins, they can't escape. We'll guard this place, we can't give them a chance to escape." The smoke lasted for more than 10 seconds before gradually dissipating. Yang Kuan's eyes widened. In such a short period of time, they had rushed a few thousand meters and had already reached the cave under the precipice. How could this be? Had the coffin formation lost its effect? Ha 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 ha. Chu Tian stood in front of the cliff cave and raised the Netherworld sword high up as he shouted, "Hey, blockhead, didn't you want the Netherworld sword? Right now the Netherworld sword is in your father's hands. Don't be a coward, come and get it." Yang Kuan was enraged, "Destroy them." Dang dang dang. The soul-controlling bell rang a few times. 100 black Yin corpses charged at the cliff. Chu Yun was an expert in formations and knew that the 3,000 floating coffins formation was definitely not ineffective. He hurriedly shouted, "No." It was too late. The Yin corpses had already charged into the array. Chu Tian's lips curled into a smile. What a complete idiot. The entire precipice began to shake. Boom. Several coffins fell down, just like swords stabbing into the ground. A surging strength came from within and instantly shattered the coffin lids. Numerous bloody figures stood straight inside, their scarlet eyes flashing with a cruel and furious light. Yang Kuan's body trembled, 1,000-year corpse monster. The white-haired Yin corpse was the lowest level, followed by the black-haired Yin corpse and finally the red-haired Yin corpse. The red-haired Yin corpse had been bred for at least 1,000 years. What kind of concept was 1,000 years? It was the limit of a human's lifespan. The Yin corpses were not living beings. In theory they had an unlimited lifespan, but after 1,000 years, they could evolve into a 1,000-year corpse monster. This kind of giant transformation, even for the Yin corpses, needed a lucky chance. First, the environment was the deciding factor. The spiritual energy on the continent was not evenly distributed. Places with dense spiritual energy were rich in products and resources, forming a large country. Places with thin spiritual energy were barren and had few treasures, forming a small country. Southern Xia's spiritual energy was thin, unable to give birth to peak existences on the continent. Not to mention 1,000 years, the Yin corpses couldn't even become corpse monsters in 10,000 years. These coffins were part of an array and restriction. There was a Yin gathering array inside. It was an excellent container for raising corpses. When the Yin corpses were placed in the coffins for 1,000 years, they could evolve into a terrifying 1,000-year corpse monster. This Yang Kuan was actually this stupid. With just a casual provocation, this Sha Dan obediently fell for it. Let's go. Chu Tian did not want to fight with the corpse monsters. Even if these fellows couldn't compare to the Spirit King, they shouldn't be too far off. Awakening this many corpse monsters at once, it was enough to make anyone suffer. They charged into the precipice. Damn! Why? Yang Kuan flew into a rage as he roared, "Why are they fine?" The bronze-masked old man's group was fine, but Yang Kuan had triggered the restriction, instantly awakening several terrifying 1,000-year corpse monsters. Charge in with me. We have to kill them. Yang Kuan roared out hysterically. Peng, peng. With several loud sounds, the coffins completely shattered, a blood-red fog was released. It was like a giant red cloud, instantly filling the entire space. This is bad. Corpse poison. Several cultivators that were touched by the red fog began to wail. It was like a strong acid had been poured on their bodies, their skin began to dissolve. In just a few breaths of time. Their entire bodies, from head to toe, it was like they had been skinned alive, turning into a terrifying blood corpse. Ho! The cultivators' pitiful cries gradually turned into roars, their eyes filled with a scarlet light. Spirit energy erupted from their bodies. It was like a burning flame enveloped their bodies. They turned around and charged at the others. The thousand-year corpse monster's corpse poison, not only could it kill people, it could also ignite a cultivator's spirit energy, turning them into terrifying killing monsters in a short period of time. Useless things. Kill them all for me. Yang Kun shook the soul-controlling bell. The Yin corpses were like a tide, blocking the cultivators controlled by the corpse poison. The evil-breaking beast let out a sharp cry, the black cloud covered their bodies, the corpses of the cultivators twitched, they were instantly corroded into human jerky. We have the advantage in numbers. What are you afraid of? No matter how strong the thousand-year corpse monsters are, they can't display their strength in the ancient tomb. Kill. Kill for me. Several black Yin corpses were like pieces of paper, they were instantly torn to pieces by the corpse monster. The corpse monster was covered in a thick corpse poison, whoever touched it would die, no one dared to approach. Yang Kun angrily released his spirit energy, it condensed into a giant golden silhouette, it was like a 3-meter-long, thick giant golden arm. Golden arm source spirit. Yang Kun used the power of his source spirit, his strength increased by more than 10 times, a fist flew out at the corpse monster. Giant spirit strong fist. The giant golden fist and the fist condensed from the blood fog collided. The blood fog was very corrosive, it broke down a small part of the golden fist. But in terms of pure strength, Yang Kun clearly had the advantage. The giant golden fist wildly charged forward, breaking through the blood fog in front of it, like a small meteor, it heavily slammed into the corpse monster's chest. When that terrifying strength exploded, the ground began to crack, the air currents surged, flipping over several black corpses. The corpse monster slammed into the cliff like a meteor, creating a large hole. It really was powerful. Because his cultivation technique focused on refining the body, his source spirit could directly increase his physical strength. Under the situation where his spirit energy was sealed, Yang Kun was able to preserve his battle strength to the greatest extent. With Yang Kun's current condition, he could still fight against a first or second awakened soul layer cultivator. You guys charge in with me. Kill those damn scoundrels. Hua Qingyin's evil-breaking beast continued to release black fog, surrounding them. The evil-breaking beast was the bane of all evil spirits, with the protection of the evil-breaking beast, even the corpse monster did not dare approach. The large group of black Yin corpses blocked the corpse monster. Yang Kun brought Chu Yun, Hua Qingyin, and the 5 Yang Zhan brothers. Under the protection of the evil-breaking beast, they charged through the 3,000 floating coffins. When Yang Kun, Chu Yun, Hua Qingyin, and the 5 Yang Zhan brothers, the 8 of them chased after them. Chu Tian, the bronze-masked old man, Yun Yao, Kai Dai, and the others, had already entered the main hall inside the mountain. This palace was not very big, the ground was made of black jade, it was smooth and warm, it was very flat. Other than a few pillars in the main hall, it was completely empty, there were no decorations in sight, on top of each thick pillar, there was a giant black chain tied to it. Several dozen black chains gathered in the center, there was a giant black jade coffin. The black jade coffin was engraved with a fierce demon diagram, it was like a finely chiseled work of art. Several dozen thick black chains locked the coffin. The corpse king was inside the coffin. The bronze-masked old man found it hard to suppress the excitement in his heart. The corpse king was already close, as long as he could obtain the corpse king's inner core, he would have accomplished a great deed for the sect, he would be able to bring glory to his descendants. The black jade coffin, it made people feel a strong sense of unease. Several dozen chains locking it, it did not seem like a good sign. Chu Tian had a very uncomfortable feeling. Are you sure you want to wake up the sleeping thing inside? Yang Kun and the others can rush in at any time, it's already very difficult for us to deal with them, if the corpse king attacks us, wouldn't that be very bad? Because they haven't come in yet, we still have a chance. The bronze-masked old man said without even thinking, this old man spent a lot of effort to find it, now that the corpse king is already close, how could I give up halfway? Flame ghost, ice demon, break the seal and open the coffin. Yes. With several pa sounds, it shattered. The black jade coffin chains were all broken. The entire Corpse King's main hall began to gently shake. This old thing. Why didn't he listen to advice? Do you know how terrifying the Corpse King is? Kai Dai's face was pale, her heart was extremely nervous. Chu Tian took out a talisman and gave it to her. This aura-concealing talisman can isolate your aura, it can keep you safe for a while. This battle, you don't need to participate. Kai Dai revealed a bitter smile. She understood the meaning behind Chu Tian's words. Kai Dai's strength was too weak, she wouldn't be of any use even if she participated in the battle, instead she would distract Chu Tian. The Corpse King's shaking became stronger and stronger, an ancient evil aura slowly filled the air. The bronze-masked old man stood 10 feet away from the black jade coffin. Everyone prepare yourselves, I'm going to break the coffin. Chu Tian raised the netherworld sword and Yunyao raised the thunder spirit bead. Ha! The bronze-masked old man gave a low roar, black spirit energy condensed, a crescent moon-shaped demonic blade suddenly appeared above his head. The bronze-masked old man's source spirit was a strange crescent moon-shaped demonic blade. Cut! The bronze-masked old man put his hands together and forcefully waved them down. The crescent moon-shaped demonic blade turned into a black light, falling on top of the black jade coffin. A loud sound rang out. At this moment, time seemed to freeze. Chapter 78. The bronze-masked old man's full-strength attack was like a clay ox entering the sea. It barely made a sound. There were hardly any scratches. Not even a spark was produced. This strange scene stunned everyone. The bronze-masked old man flew into a rage out of shame. He controlled his source spirit to attack a dozen times, but the result was the same. The black jade coffin was not damaged in the slightest. All of his attacks were like clay oxen entering the sea. Useless? How could this be? Could it be that he found it with great difficulty, but in the end, he couldn't open it? Chu Tian suddenly sensed something. Wait, there's movement inside. Everyone observed carefully. The black jade coffin trembled slightly, and there seemed to be some cracks on it. These cracks were so small that it was almost impossible to see with the naked eye. This crack was not caused by the bronze-masked old man's attack, it seemed to be spreading from the inside out. There was a power inside the coffin that was causing the incomparably sturdy coffin to crack open. No matter what. The black jade coffin was finally about to open. The bronze-masked old man did not have time to be happy. From the direction of the main hall, there was a sharp whistling sound. His face suddenly changed. They've chased us in. The others were shocked. Of all times, he had to come at this very moment. Ha ha ha, where do you think you can escape to? Yang Kun wildly laughed as he charged forward. Just like an angry rhinoceros, his right arm was covered in the glow of his golden giant arm source spirit as he charged forward with the might of a mountain. Die! Chu Tian grabbed Kai Dai and moved to the side. Yunyao raised the thunder spirit bead high up, the thunder and lightning interweaved to form a giant cover. Boom! The giant golden fist landed on the lightning shield, causing it to cave in. Yunyao borrowed the power of the thunder spirit bead, but she could only barely block Yang Kun. Yang Kun's physical strength was too strong, it was not inferior to the wild beasts. Even if his spirit energy was sealed to below the awakened soul realm, his battle strength was still tyrannical. You're just the weakest of the 4 young masters. Don't even mention Chu Xinghe, you're far inferior to the other 2. Break! Yang Kun angrily roared, the thunder barrier shattered and Yunyao retreated a few steps, barely managing to stand firm. Yang Kun shouted to the Yang Zhan brothers who had just arrived, I'll leave the others to you, I'll deal with this woman. Yang Zhan laughed arrogantly, brothers, kill them. None of them were simple characters. This was going to be a very difficult battle. The bronze-masked old man's face filled with anxiety. Flame Ghost, Ice Demon, go block them. The Flame Ghost brothers were the sect's new talents brought out by the bronze-masked old man. They were the elites of the younger generation. They grew up in a large country. They cultivated a high-level cultivation technique. Their strength was naturally not weak. Although his true strength was much weaker than the Central State's 5 sabers, when they were suppressed to the same realm, the Central State's 5 sabers might not be his match in a one-on-one fight. Brother Hua, I'll give these 2 kids to you to feed your spirit beasts. Leave this bronze-masked old man to me. Chu Yun threw out a black talisman, the demon Isour's spirit shot out a ray of light onto it, the talisman was covered in black flames, it turned into a half-body demon, it held a giant hammer and attacked the bronze-masked old man. The bronze-masked old man summoned the crescent moon demon blade and with a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye, it slashed across the demonic body like a bolt of lightning, directly splitting the demonic body in half. Ghost Taoist Chu Yun's divine ability is merely a so-so. Jia, it's not over yet. After the demonic body was split in half, not only did it not dissipate, it turned into 2 demonic bodies. The bronze-masked old man's crescent moon demon blade was too fast, in the blink of an eye, it slashed out several times, but the more it slashed, the more the demonic body split, finally there were several dozen of them. What kind of strange technique was this? Even a small country's cultivator could not be completely underestimated. In this kind of place where the spiritual energy was thin, to be able to cultivate to the same level as him, it could only mean that he had a lot of fortuitous encounters, his battle strength was not necessarily weaker than his. Let's go. Chu Tian and Kai Dai held their swords and rushed out. Chu Tian's face was like ice, his hands formed a seal, suddenly striking out, a black seal shot out at Kai Dai. The autumn water sword lit up, the power of a high-grade spirit weapon slashed out. Hong! Kai Dai was forced back several steps. Her strength was the weakest of the group, but relying on the power of the high-grade spirit weapon, she could still display the strength of a peak 9th body refinement layer cultivator. At this time the evil-breaking beast let out an AO. With a sharp cry, it jumped out from Hua Qingyin's shoulder, turning into a purple blur, whistling out. Too fast. A blur quickly attacked. Chu Tian quickly condensed starlight to protect his body, only to feel his back shake, as if he had been struck by lightning, a burst of burning pain came through. Several deep wounds appeared on his back, several scratches appeared on the stone pillar next to him. The evil-breaking beast's 2 legs kicked off the stone pillar, once again turning into a purple light, like a drill, it attacked his chest. A little monkey dared to jump up and down. It almost pooped on this brother's head. Does it really think this brother is easy to bully? Chu Tian directly opened his mind's eye, instantly understanding the evil-breaking beast's movements, his sword blade danced, thick ghost chi filled the air, a terrifying killing intent directly locked onto the evil-breaking beast, a dazzling cold light slashed out. Hua Qingyin's face changed, retreat. The evil-breaking beast gave a pitiful cry, its 2 claws were directly cut off. Hua Qingyin's ice-cold face revealed a look of rage, quickly chanting an incantation, the 2 claws flew in a circle, returning to the evil-breaking beast's body. Injuring my spirit beast. I want you to never be reincarnated. Hua Qingyin was completely enraged by Chu Tian, the evil-breaking beast was connected to its master, it immediately roared towards the sky, spitting out a large amount of demonic chi from its mouth. After this black mist came out from its mouth, it entered the evil-breaking beast's body through its pores. What the hell is this? The 10-centimeter tall evil-breaking beast suddenly increased in size, turning into a 10-meter tall strange ape. The strange ape's body was hairless, its black rock-like skin was covered in complex runes from head to toe, a fierce and manic aura was released from the strange ape's body. Kill him! Hua Qingyin loudly roared. The strange ape's body flickered with light, a giant fist imprint directly pressed into the ground, the strong vibration made it hard for people to stand. Chu Tian dodged quickly, otherwise he would have become a meat patty. This fierce beast's strength was not much different from Yang Kuan's. The strange ape was like it had eaten several tons of aphrodisiac, it was excited and manic, its fists were like a storm, constantly attacking Chu Tian, each fist creating a large hole in the ground. Chu Tian could only use his hyperfocus to dodge, like a butterfly passing through flowers, he could occasionally fight back once or twice, but he was still at a disadvantage. How could this brat be as nimble as a loach? Chu Tian could already see, the evil-breaking beast's true purpose was to destroy demonic qi. Although it could use a secret technique to temporarily increase its strength, it was not inferior to the triple awakened soul. On the surface it was suppressing Chu Tian, but in reality it could not last long. Yang Zhan's eyes flashed with a cold intent. I'll leave these two fellows to you, I'll go get the Netherworld sword. A long blade covered in flames, directly attacked Chu Tian from behind. Brat! You never would have thought. You will die in my hands in the end. The flames on the long blade became more and more intense, turning into a burning blade of fire. He already saw this brat as an eyesore, so he directly killed him with a single slash to vent his unhappiness. In front of him was the strange ape's attack. Behind him was Yang Zhan's sneak attack. Kai Dai revealed a worried expression because Chu Tian was already in a very dangerous situation. At this critical moment, Chu Tian's lips curled into a cold smile. He no longer held back his spirit energy. A vague sword shadow appeared. Yang Zhan was shocked. Sword source spirit. He had actually been hiding his strength. The demon god's sword source spirit released an ancient and terrifying destructive aura. The netherworld sword was infused with the demon god's sword's power. The complex runes on the surface began to glow. The sword glow suddenly grew. It was mixed with a vast and boundless divine might. It was like a god of destruction had awoken, releasing a power that could destroy all living things. How is this possible? Yang Zhan felt a terrifying aura cover him. He felt a chill from the depths of his soul. It was like he was in hell, surrounded by mournful screams from the dead. Pa! The bright purple-black sword glow broke the flame blade on the spot. The sword glow mercilessly fell onto Yang Zhan's body. One sword cut Yang Zhan in half. One sword. The head of the infamous Central State Five Sabers. Chu Tian's sword had killed him. The four brothers shouted out in shock, "Big brother!" Chu Tian raised his sword. The demon god's sword source spirit shrouded him, releasing a terrifying might. The endless destructive power condensed into a sword, heavily slashing onto the strange ape's body. Under the terrifying pressure, the strange ape was sent flying several feet, its body shattered on the spot, turning back into an evil-breaking beast. Hu Qingyin's face fell. This is bad. This brat's battle strength was too strong, even the evil-breaking beast was not his match. Chu Tian was deliberately hiding his strength. When the time was right, he suddenly made his move, without any hesitation, decisive and ruthless. How was he like a young man? He was simply like an old fox that had been through hundreds of battles. What happened? How could this brat be this strong? Yang Kun was also very shocked. Even Yun Yao with the Thunder Spirit bead was slightly weaker. The winner of today's battle was still unknown. The bronze-masked old man saw that Chu Tian's battle strength far surpassed his expectations. His confidence increased. He used all his strength to control the new moon demon blade, blocking the spirit Taoist Chu Yun's attack, daring to ruin my plan. Leave your life here. Pang! An explosion sounded from behind him. There was no warning at all. The originally quiet black jade coffin suddenly burst open, and a red humanoid figure bounced out from within. This, Chu Yun revealed a horrified expression. He quickly withdrew his attack, quickly retreating 10 feet. When the bronze-masked old man felt the aura, his body stiffened. He quickly turned around to look. A terrifying face was right in front of him, not even 10 centimeters away. It was surprisingly a female. It was actually lifelike. From the outside, there was no trace of a Yin corpse, only a pair of empty eye sockets. It was like an endless black hole. The most terrifying thing was that face. It was a beautiful and strange fox face. A fox-faced human body monster. What kind of monster was it? Pa! There was no time to react. The fox-faced corpse king slapped out with its palm, the bronze-masked old man's head. It was like a watermelon being smashed by a hammer. The whole thing turned into mush, his brains splattered all over the ground. 2 palms tore. Chi la. His entire body was split in half. One half hit the left wall of the main hall, the other half hit the right wall of the main hall. They were both crushed by the terrifying strength. Flame Ghost and Ice Demon revealed looks of shock. Elder. The bronze-masked old man was dead. He was a super expert with a triple awakened soul. He was not inferior to the Silver Wind Swordsman, but he couldn't even withstand a single blow. The Corpse King that jumped out of the black jade coffin, from the outline of the body, it should be a female corpse, but there was no trace of a Een corpse. Her skin was pale white, but it was very smooth, there was not a single hair on her body. Long black hair, blood-red clothes, pale white skin, there was no difference from a normal person, other than that strange fox face. The female corpse's stomach bulged out. Like a pregnant woman several months pregnant. It couldn't be. The female demon corpse had a big belly. The black jade coffin had been here for at least a few thousand years. If the female corpse was pregnant with something, it would definitely be an evil monster. This was the Corpse King. It was finally born. Chapter 79. The eyes of the female corpse, which were as deep as black holes, gradually lit up with two red lights. They were like two lit magic lanterns, emitting waves of aura. Evil thoughts that could make one's heart palpitate and suffocate burst out in all directions. It was like a river flowing backwards, churning in the entire hall. Such a terrifying aura. In just a few seconds, the black hair began to turn white, as if for some reason, it was quickly weakening. You've awakened me. The fox-faced Corpse King took a step forward, its jet-black lips trembled, a sharp voice came from its throat, as if it came from hell, you're too weak, you're not worthy. Not worthy? What did it mean? This Corpse King's intelligence was higher than the Spirit King's. The Yang brothers were already scared witless by the Corpse King's terrifying aura. Run! The four of them turned around to run. The fox-faced Corpse King was covered in black chi, taking a step forward, its body turned into fog, instantly moving 10 meters away. Appearing. One palm. A head flew high into the air. One fist. A person's chest shattered on the spot. Taking another 2-3 steps, it was like teleportation, constantly drifting, it easily caught up to the other two, its two hands grabbed out, two beating hearts were completely pulled out. Pa. The two hearts were directly crushed. The fox-faced Corpse King was too fast, each movement was like teleportation, people had no way to keep up with its speed. Yang Kun. Chu Tian raised the netherworld sword and shouted, if you don't want to die, then come together. Too strong. Too strong. The infamous Central State 5 sabers. The Corpse King had easily taken care of 4 of them. The Corpse King did not use its true strength, otherwise once it used its power, everyone would have died. All right. Yang Kun nodded, Brother Hua, Brother Chu, we'll first kill it, then we'll deal with that brat. You. The Corpse King's eyes had a few wrinkles, its eyes revealed a trace of ridicule, ants. You're just a fucking corpse, what are you being so arrogant for? Yang Kun angrily roared as he charged out, both his hands were covered in a golden arm source spirit, slamming down at the Corpse King. The Corpse King took a step forward, its body turned into fog, instantly moving several meters. Yang Kun's attack completely missed. Chu Yun and Hua Qingyin quickly went to support him. The Corpse King is being held back. Chu Tian shouted to the Flame Ghost brothers, you can't help. Take Kai Dai away. The elders were all dead. How could the two of them dare to stay any longer? He immediately retreated with Kai Dai. Chu Tian and Yun Yao looked at each other, let's go. The fox-faced Corpse King was surrounded by the 5 of them. Its face was cold and emotionless, its eyes flashed with a scarlet demonic aura. That terrifying gaze was like a sword, directly piercing through their flesh. The Corpse King's hair gradually turned white, and his skin began to show traces of wrinkles, but he did not care, and said word by word, the weak, all have to die. From the 7 orifices of the fox-faced Corpse King, a large amount of black demonic mist exploded out. These condensed into the shape of a skeleton that was more than 10 meters tall. It was indomitable, and with its head held high, it was like a peerless demon king. Yang Kun shouted in horror, his mother. This thing has a spirit. Chu Tian stared at the demonic mist skeleton and said, undead do not have souls, so naturally they cannot form a source spirit. The corpse king has been asleep for too long, the Yin Qi has condensed a Hotian soul, so it has awakened something similar to a source soul. Yang Kun roared, who cares what it is? Go! Get rid of it! Yunyao raised the thunder spirit bead high up, and the light it released was as dazzling as the sun. Countless bolts of lightning turned into countless runes, intertwining with each other. It was incomparably profound. This was a kind of power that could suppress a group of demons, instantly filling the entire space, completely sealing off the corpse king's movements. The fox-faced corpse king's eyes released two shocking beams of light, and a deep roar came from its throat. Ice-cold, disdainful, and even more so a kind of ruthless cruelty. It was like the roar of an ancient demonic beast. The black mist skeleton made its move, it turned into a giant palm, like a few drops of water, the wild strength swept away the lightning energy. When the Spirit King faced the Thunder Spirit Bead, it had no choice but to use its full strength. The fox-faced Corpse King faced the Thunder Spirit Bead's power, but it treated it like child's play. The lightning that naturally restrained demonic beasts had no effect on the fox-faced Corpse King at all. This was not a normal Corpse King. Chu Yun shouted, the Thunder Spirit Bead's power is not enough, Brother Hua, try using the evil-breaking beast. The evil-breaking beast that had been refined for 200 years had a very high cultivation, and it had an innate ability to restrain demonic beasts. It was because of the evil-breaking beast's cover that Yang Kuan and the others were able to pass through the corpse monsters. Even the 1,000-year corpse monsters feared the evil-breaking beast. The 10,000-year corpse king should be able to deal with it. The evil-breaking beast stood up from Hua Qingyin's shoulder, it spat out a black cloud that was as dense as ink, instantly surrounding the fox-faced corpse king. Refine it. Hua Qingyin's eyes lit up with excitement. This evil fox-faced corpse king, it was afraid it had cultivated for over 10,000 years, if it could be refined, the evil-breaking beast would evolve several times, becoming a super spirit beast that surpassed the awakened soul realm. The evil-breaking beast controlled the black cloud to touch the demon statue. A.O. The black cloud was like it had met a fan, it was instantly swallowed by the demon statue. The evil-breaking beast gave a pitiful cry, blood flowed out of its 7 orifices, it fell down from Hua Qingyin's shoulder. No! Hua Qingyin roared out. A.O. The skeleton demon statue suddenly let out a roar, a spiritual wave burst out, the 5 of them instantly felt a sharp pain, followed by a dark red storm. The entire dark red storm was made up of hundreds of millions of small wind blades, it was like a meat grinder covering them. Hua Qingyin and the evil-breaking beast did not even have a chance to dodge, they were blown into the air by the storm and turned into 1,000 pieces, turning into a rain of blood and flesh, it was blown onto the wall, turning into a very abstract painting. The largest piece was not even the size of a fingernail. The dark red storm was like a tornado, after it destroyed Hua Qingyin, it gathered on top of the corpse king's head, its 2 palms suddenly pressed down, condensing into a fist-sized ball of energy. Chu Tian quickly released his glass body, careful. It's going to explode. The storm ball exploded, covering several hundred meters. Yunyao quickly used all her strength to activate the Thunder Spirit Bead, condensing a giant shield of lightning. Yang Kun quickly used his golden arm source spirit to block it. Chu Yun did not have any strong defensive methods, he could only watch as the dark red storm engulfed his body. Ah! Flesh and blood flew everywhere. Another one was turned into pieces. The fox-faced corpse king took a step forward, coming out from the center of the storm, a fist slammed into the giant shield of lightning, the entire shield of lightning was split apart, the wild strength was released onto Yunyao's body, Yunyao was like a kite with a broken string, she flew out several meters, falling into the entrance of the main hall. Several of her bones were broken, the Thunder Spirit Bead lost its luster, she fainted on the spot, completely losing her battle strength. Giant spirit strong fist. Yang Kun raised his giant golden fist. Pang! A slender pale palm easily caught the giant fist. Yang Kun wanted to withdraw, but he could not do it. He revealed a look of shock. This is bad. The fox-faced corpse king's hand passed through the golden arm source spirit, grabbing onto Yang Kun's arm. The black fog entered Yang Kun's body. Ah! Yang Kun gave a pitiful cry. His body turned black. His originally strong body, in the blink of an eye, became as thin as a stick. The demon eye flashed. Yang Kun was crushed by the energy, like powder exploding everywhere. Yun Yao, Yang Kun, these two strong people, were easily defeated. Impossible. It was impossible to win. This fellow was too strong. The ancient tomb's restrictions seemed to have no effect on it. The fox-faced corpse king casually took care of Hua Qingyin, Chu Yun, Yun Yao, and Yang Kun. Finally it turned its head, its demonic eyes, fell onto Chu Tian. It did not seem to be in a rush to make a move, rather it sized up Chu Tian, using a hoarse voice to say, "You and them are not the same." While it was speaking, the fox-faced corpse king's hair was half white. The fox-faced corpse king coldly said, "I'll give you a chance, make your move." How strong was Yang Kun's body? He was easily killed. Chu Tian did not dare to fight the corpse king head-on. The ring on his right hand was activated, a sword chi swept out. Chu Tian did not expect to injure the corpse king, he just wanted to stall for time. He took this chance to rush over to Yang Kun's broken body. His right hand picked up the old bell. The fox-faced corpse king stretched out a finger, gently flicking it. A strange power came from its fingernail. It changed the direction of the sword chi, shooting it back at Chu Tian. Damn! There was simply no solution. In terms of speed, Yun Yao could not compare to Chu Tian. In front of the corpse king, he was simply like a snail. Chu Tian released the demon god's sword source spirit. The netherworld sword released a bright sword glow. A single slash shattered the blue sword chi. Almost in an instant, the corpse king took a step forward, teleporting in front of him. Its right hand reached out, grabbing onto the blade. This is bad. Chu Tian had no way of pulling back his sword. Instead there was an irresistible force. The netherworld sword was taken away by the corpse king. It was disarmed. It's over. Chu Tian had never been in close contact with the corpse king before. That strange fox-like face, that deep-set eyes glowed with a cruel red demonic light. An unprecedented dangerous aura covered his body. Yes. No. The fox-faced corpse king saw Chu Tian's source spirit. Its demonic eyes flickered a few times. It revealed a look of disappointment. No, you are not the person the sacred lord is waiting for. Killing intent. It erupted like a landslide and a tsunami. The fox-faced corpse king's killing intent, Chu Tian would die without a doubt. There was no other way. He had to gamble. A terrifying pressure erupted from Chu Tian's body. An incomparably fierce shadow, impressively appeared on top of his body. The fox-faced corpse king facing the shadow source spirit, its body trembled. It couldn't help taking a few steps back. This is... The fox-faced corpse king was stunned. It actually stopped its attack. At this time, the corpse king's hair had completely turned white, like an old man with one foot in the grave. His demonic lantern-like eyes stared unwaveringly at the blurry shadow. His bewitching and strange fox face changed from bewilderment to shock, and finally, gradually revealing a pious expression. Yes. It's you. The prophecy is true. The fox-faced corpse king's pseudo-skeleton source spirit, it trembled and gave a low roar. It collapsed. It was like it was unable to resist the divine might of the shadow source spirit. What kind of nonsense was this corpse king talking about? Forget it for now. Who cares? Escaping was more important. This wasn't called escaping, this was called a strategic retreat. Who told this fellow to be too abnormal? The ancient tomb's restrictions were useless against it. What was there to fight? Under the cover of the Shadow Source Spirit's power, Chu Tian floated in the air. Like an arrow, he escaped several dozen feet like lightning. Chapter 80. The fox-faced corpse king was sluggish for a few seconds. At this moment, the strange and bewitching fox face was already filled with the color of defeat. Its skin was quickly wrinkling, and it was rapidly aging. Its white hair began to fall off strand by strand, like a withered leaf. How was this corpse king formed? However, such a heaven-defying item clearly did not have a long lifespan. Ever since the black jade coffin was unsealed, it had been weakening at every moment. Now, it was like an old woman with one foot in the grave. However, its abdomen was becoming more and more swollen, like a pregnant woman who was 8 or 9 months pregnant. What kind of secret was the fox-faced corpse king hiding? Chu Tian was very interested, but he had no way to explore it. The corpse king's strength was too strong. It had accumulated thousands of years of baleful yin qi. It could forcefully resist the ancient tomb's restriction. It could erupt with strength that far surpassed the ancient tomb's limit. Chu Tian did not have any chance of winning, but he was lucky in this misfortune. Chu Tian's main source spirit was not normal, although it had not completely awakened. With just a trace of its aura, it was enough to create a strong deterrent effect. He did not know how long it would last. In short, it was not good to stay here for long. Chu Tian rushed to the exit. He just happened to pass by Yun Yao. Yun Yao was seriously injured and unconscious, but she did not seem to be dead. He casually picked her up and continued to rush out of the main hall. If we can leave this place alive, don't forget, you owe me 2 lives. Yun Yao's face was as pale as paper, her face was covered in blood, her clothes were dyed red, but she seemed to still have a trace of consciousness, her lips slightly pursed, but she could not say a word. Almost there. Chu Tian released his source spirit, his feet fell into the passage, carrying Yun Yao, he ran away. Ho! The moment the shadow source spirit disappeared, the fox-faced corpse king finally recovered. With a low roar, the entire corpse king palace began to shake. A wave of baleful qi that could topple the mountains and overturn the seas, once again filled every corner of the corpse king palace. It was like a 1,000-year-old peerless beast suddenly awakening. The fox-faced corpse king took a few steps forward. It seemed slow, but it was actually very fast. With every step the fox-faced corpse king took, its body would turn into mist and teleport several meters away. In just a few steps, in less than 2 seconds, it had already chased him into the passage. Too fast. It was impossible for Chu Tian's speed to escape the fox-faced corpse king's pursuit. At this time, the battle in the hanging coffins was not over yet. The cultivators that Yang Kuan brought were basically all dead. There was only a large group of black yin corpses left, fighting with the corpse monsters. How could the black yin corpses be a match for the corpse monsters? Although they could suppress the corpse monsters with their numbers advantage, their numbers were still decreasing. There was less than half of them left. Flame Ghost, Ice Demon, and Kai Dai hid behind a giant rock, their faces filled with anxiety. They're out. Kai Dai's eyes flashed as she exclaimed. Chu Tian carried Yun Yao at an extremely fast speed, rushing out of the precipice passage. Could it be that the corpse king had already been dealt with? Before the 3 of them could rejoice, a majestic aura of a king suddenly descended. Countless dark red energy spewed out from the tunnel. A terrifying red figure leaped out from the tunnel. At the bottom of the precipice, the 1,000-year corpse demons sensed the arrival of the corpse king and roared. Although they didn't have complete intelligence like the corpse king, the corpse demons still had a certain level of thinking ability. The terrifying aura of the corpse king made them feel extremely uneasy. The fox-faced corpse king directly clawed over. Pang! A corpse demon was torn into several pieces on the spot. Roar, roar, roar. The other corpse demons screeched out. The several dozen corpse demons had a tacit understanding. They stopped attacking the normal yin corpses at the same time, unexpectedly attacking the corpse king together. The corpse demons were actually fighting with the corpse king. This was truly a good opportunity. Chu Tian raised the bell high up, spirit energy poured in, forcefully shaking it. The several dozen wandering black yin corpses immediately gathered around Chu Tian. Probably because his cultivation base wasn't high enough, Chu Tian couldn't control over 100 of them, but controlling a few dozen was not a problem. At least he could keep them by his side as bodyguards. At a critical moment they could be used as meat shields, buying time to escape. Why are you guys still here? You don't want your lives. Quickly run. Chu Tian saw Kai Dai and the others run over. He anxiously shouted out. These three people's strength was simply chicken ribs. They weren't even enough to fill the gaps between the fox-faced corpse king's teeth. The several dozen corpse demons couldn't delay it for long. The fox-faced corpse king's footwork was like a ghost. It turned into an invisible black fog, directly passing through the corpse demons. When it condensed again, there was a bloody, round corpse core in its hand. Several flashes. Several teleportations. The fox-faced corpse king seemed to be taking a stroll in the park as it passed through the corpse monsters. In its hands were several corpse cores dripping with blood. The corpse monsters stood there like statues. Only after a few seconds did they all fall to the ground. They were instantly killed. Several incomparably tyrannical corpse demons were instantly killed. The 3,000 floating coffins continued to shake. Another group of corpse demons was about to descend. Ho! The corpse king violently roared into the sky. A terrifying spiritual wave erupted. Kai Dai, Flame Ghost, an ice demon, the three of them directly fainted. Chu Tian wasn't affected at all. He only felt his body stiffen, as if he was deprived of the ability to move. At this time, the 3,000 floating coffins that were moving like stars were disturbed by some kind of power. It was like someone had suddenly thrown a wrench into a moving gear. Ka, 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 ka. There was a strange sound of something being blocked. The entire array had stopped working. Chu Tian's eyes almost popped out. This corpse king had actually closed the array. The floating coffin array had stopped working. There would be no more corpse demons joining the battle. Escape? Could he escape? Not to mention that it was hard for Chu Tian to move. With the fox-faced corpse king's strange footwork, there was no place for him to hide. From the moment it was born to now, the entire process had not even been a quarter of an hour. The fox-faced corpse king had aged beyond recognition. Its entire body had shriveled up. It was as thin as a dried-up skeleton. The fox-faced corpse king's red demonic eyes became dimmer and dimmer. It said with difficulty, "My time is running out." Chu Tian was a little stunned. He could see that the fox-faced corpse king was about to fall. But before it fell, the fox-faced corpse king still had enough time to kill Chu Tian 100 times. But, at this time, the fox-faced corpse king did something that shocked everyone. It picked up the netherworld sword and cut open its belly. Its entire belly was cut open. Countless 10,000-year-old black demonic chi poured out from its belly. Chu Tian finally understood. The thing that the fox-faced corpse king had been nurturing for 10,000 years was a mixture of demonic chi and demonic chi. This massive energy was the purest thing that Chu Tian had ever seen in his life. It was like the birth of the world, the primal chi that was produced at the beginning of chaos. This kind of energy was even earlier than the great ancient era, therefore it was even more powerful, able to give birth to all living things in the world. The fox-faced corpse king's hands formed a seal. Countless demonic chi intertwined, finally forming a giant white egg. Kacha! When the giant egg cracked, a furry little fellow came out from the giant egg. From its appearance, it looked like a little fox. Its body was clean. It was only a little bigger than a fist. Chu Tian's face became serious. It was directly born from the primal chi. This was not simple. It was comparable to the great ancient era's spiritual god. The fox-faced corpse king stretched out a finger. Black ripples formed a rune, instantly falling onto Chu Tian's chest, leaving behind a simple contract rune. It was like a tattoo appeared on his chest. Master Recognition Contract. The Corpse King's old and fierce fox face revealed an incomparably sincere expression. Its two hands held the little fox, slowly placing it on the ground. Its right hand reached into its chest, digging out the golden corpse core. It placed it in front of the little fox. The little fox swallowed the entire corpse core. The fox-faced Corpse King had lost its corpse core. It became even weaker. This is the Sacred Lord's descendant. When the fox-faced Corpse King raised its head, the demonic light in its eyes had already been extinguished. It said word by word, "Now. I'll leave it to you. My mission is complete." As soon as its voice fell, the fox-faced Corpse King's face revealed a relaxed expression, as if it had gotten rid of a 10,000-year burden. Its body was like mud. It instantly began to crack. Inch by inch it exploded. Hey, wait a minute. Chu Tian had never seen this kind of strange matter before. Speak clearly before you die. What Sacred Lord? The Corpse King's body collapsed. Like a gust of wind, it disappeared into the endless void, as if it had never appeared before. The fox-faced Corpse King's life was short. Its existence was to be a vessel, to give birth to that inconceivable life form. The little fox swallowed the fox-faced Corpse King's corpse core. Its body trembled a few times. It slowly opened its eyes. Those eyes were clear and bright, just like a top-quality gem. It was filled with an alluring charm. Zhi. After the little fox woke up, it looked left and right. It suddenly found Chu Tian. It happily gave two zhi sounds, its two claws pouncing forward. So. The little fox's body turned into mist. Disappeared. Appeared. Like it had teleported, it appeared in front of him, grabbing his right leg. Fuck. Isn't this the Corpse King's move? Chu Tian was shocked. He quickly shook his leg. What the fuck are you? Don't bother me. Scram. The little fellow was like a dog's skin plaster that stuck to his leg. No matter how much strength Chu Tian used, he couldn't kick it away at all. Chu Tian couldn't help feeling puzzled. Just what was this? Even with 30,000 years of experience, he had never seen this kind of thing before. 30,000 years to a civilization was a very long time. 30,000 years to a world was a very short moment. Before the human civilization, it was unknown how many civilizations had appeared. It was unknown how many eras, from prosperity to destruction. It was a cycle. It was constantly changing. Chu Tian came from the peak of civilization, but that did not mean he understood the mysteries of the world. Chu Tian found that this ancient tomb was not simple. There was a sect that appeared here several thousand years ago. Its strength even surpassed a large country. Why would they build their sect in an area with thin spiritual energy? It was possible it was related to this ancient tomb. This ancient tomb had existed for a very long time. Perhaps it was even longer than he imagined. The little fox jumped onto Chu Tian's shoulder. It quietly sat there, licking its furry little claws. Its body was covered in fur. It was pure white without a speck of dust. Its eyes were as clear as gems. It was very intelligent. It looked very obedient. Forget it. The fox-faced Corpse King gave it to him. Perhaps it was some kind of fate arrangement. Chu Tian accepted it, treating it like a little pet. Chu Tian walked to the place where the fox-faced Corpse King disappeared. He picked up his netherworld sword. He also picked up several blood-red corpse cores. Zhi. When the little fox saw the corpse cores, its eyes immediately lit up. You want to eat them? The little fox immediately nodded its head. Chu Tian was puzzled. How could this little fellow understand human language? If Chu Tian was a guest from tens of thousands of years in the future, then the little fox was something from tens of thousands of years ago. Chu Tian was someone who had lived through this era. Naturally he could understand the language of the past, but the little fox had never experienced this era. How could it understand human language when it was born? Alright, I'll give you one. Chu Tian handed it over and the little fox happily used its little claws to hold the corpse core, swallowing it in 2-3 bites, then it stared at the rest of the corpse cores. You want more? The little fox nodded its head. Chu Tian gave it another one. The little fox ate it in 2-3 bites, then it stretched out its 2 little claws, its sparkling eyes stared at the rest of the corpse cores, drooling. I don't believe it. With your fist-sized stomach, how much can it hold? Chu Tian gave it another one and the little fox ate it all in 2-3 bites. Damn it, corpse cores were condensed from yin qi and corpse qi, the energy contained within a corpse monster's core was incomparably strong. Although the little fox was born from the corpse king's body, it was still a living creature. How could a living creature eat a corpse core? Wasn't this seeking death? Of course, this little thing couldn't be measured with common sense. What kind of living creature could hide in the corpse king's body for 10,000 years? No, I can't eat anymore. Chu Tian put away the remaining corpse cores. I still have use for these corpse cores. Your food standards are this high. Do you want me to go bankrupt? Don't blame me for not reminding you. Chu Tian, don't raise idle people. What use do you have? How about this, you teach me that teleportation movement technique and I'll let you eat your fill. The little fox turned its head in disdain. Damn, this damn fox is still quite arrogant. At this time the ancient tomb began to violently shake, most likely because of the corpse king's death. The ancient tomb became very unstable, it seemed like it was going to be sealed early. We have to go. Chu Tian shook the soul-controlling bell, controlling several soldier puppets. He began to wantonly dig out the corpse cores on the ground. He collected over 100 corpse cores from the black yin corpses. Chu Tian had the yin corpses carry the unconscious Kai Dai and Flame Ghost brothers. He quickly left the ancient tomb and returned to the black market camp. Chapter 81. At the black market camp, rumors were spreading. The ancient tomb had opened early and closed early. It was filled with a strange aura. Of the several hundred cultivators that went in, only a few returned alive. Those famous central state missions, those famous cultivators, had all disappeared. It was like they had evaporated into thin air. In the mysterious 10,000-year-old ancient tomb, no one knew what was happening, but this time it was completely closed. The next time it would open, it would be several hundred years later. The bronze-masked old man's plan had completely failed. Not only did he not obtain the corpse king's corpse core, he had also paid the price with his life. The result really made people sigh. Chu Tian had tried his best. The infant soul fruit, Chu Tian still had to obtain it. This thing had too much meaning to Chu Tian. If he had the help of the infant soul fruit, Chu Tian was confident he could break through to the awakened soul realm in a week, otherwise he would face a huge life-threatening crisis. Chu Tian went to find the Flame Ghost and Ice Demon brothers. The two brothers had a dejected look. They were currently calling the Sex Company, preparing to evacuate. This time they had suffered a heavy loss. The elder was dead. The caravan's goods were not safe in southern Xia. It was better to return to the sect as soon as possible. When the two of them saw the young man come over, they couldn't help being stunned. With a normal appearance, plain clothes, there was a small snow-white fox sitting on his shoulder. His appearance was very ordinary. There was nothing special about him. The two brothers did not dare look down on him. Chu Tian's potential was the highest they had seen in their lives. Even if he was compared to the super geniuses that the sect's high level raised, he was not far off. Not to mention that Chu Tian had saved the two brothers' lives, he could be considered their savior. Brother Lu, why are you here? You're preparing to leave. Flame Ghost and Ice Demon looked at each other. Their faces were filled with helplessness as they said, "The elder is already dead. This mission has completely failed. We have no right to take over the caravan. We can only return to the sect to report." Chu Tian revealed a mysterious smile. Not obtaining the corpse king's corpse core doesn't mean it's a complete failure. The two of them were stunned. What do you mean? Chu Tian took out a bag from his chest and opened it to let the two of them take a look. They saw that the bag was filled with several corpse cores. Each one was as red as blood and emitted an incomparably strong corpse aura. This is, the Flame Ghost brothers revealed looks of joy. Isn't this the corpse core of a corpse demon? How could Chu Tian have so many corpse cores? Yesterday in the ancient tomb, it was unknown if the corpse king did it intentionally or unintentionally, but it had used a very strong spiritual roar that made several people faint on the spot. So what happened afterwards, including the origin of the little fox, these people did not see it at all. The little fox suddenly jumped up and its snow-white fur stood on end. It waved its little claws and bared its teeth in protest. It knew its master's intentions. It was obvious that he wanted to use the corpse cores to make a deal. How could this be? This is this fox's high-quality food. Chu Tian ignored the little fox's protest. There are several dozen monster corpse cores here, and these monster corpse cores have been formed over 10,000 years. Although they are compared to a 10,000-year-old corpse king corpse core, in terms of quality, they are far superior to normal monster corpse cores. I think several of them together wouldn't be inferior to a normal corpse king corpse core. Flame Ghost and Ice Demon revealed looks of disbelief. What did Chu Tian do? Not only did he escape from the corpse king, he even brought out this many blood-colored corpse cores. With this many blood-colored corpse cores added together, it wouldn't be inferior to a corpse king's golden corpse core by much. Flame Ghost and Ice Demon revealed looks of ecstasy. This was truly a pleasant surprise. With these monster corpse cores, it was enough for them to return to their sect. This was definitely a great merit. The bronze-masked old man desperately wanted this great merit. In the end, he never would have thought that it would fall into the hands of the two brothers. Many thanks, Brother Lu. The Flame Ghost brothers quickly gave their thanks. This great favor, we'll remember it. If you come to the Great Zhou country and have any other troubles, as long as you say it, us brothers won't refuse. Chu Tian shook his head and said, no need to thank me, I'm only doing this to exchange for something I need. The Flame Ghost brothers of course knew what Chu Tian was referring to. The bronze-masked old man had promised Chu Tian before, as long as he helped the bronze-masked old man obtain the corpse cores, the 3 infant soul fruits would belong to Chu Tian. The benefits you've brought to my sect cannot be measured by 3 infant soul fruits. Since the elder was no longer here, Flame Ghost decided for himself, 1 blood-colored corpse core can be exchanged for 1 infant soul fruit. As for the other elixirs, you can exchange for them. Chu Tian's heart skipped a beat. I won't be polite. The little fox stared at its master giving its snacks to someone else. What are you angry about? Who would have thought that the little fox would angrily sit down, crossing its legs and turning its head to the side? Fuck, it's ignoring me. You can eat this much. If your master doesn't become stronger, how can I feed you? The little fox gave a light snort. You're still not convinced? Chu Tian knocked the little fox's head. Investment, do you understand? The little fox gave a painful cry, its 2 claws clutching its head. Chu Tian ignored the little fellow. He first put away the 3 infant soul fruits. Actually for Chu Tian, as long as he had the infant soul fruit, it was enough. The other herbs and elixirs didn't have much use, but with the principle of not biting it would be a waste, Chu Tian continued to pick. Blood marrow lingji. Chu Tian found a jade-like spiritual herb. This is also a level 2 elixir. Its value is not inferior to the infant soul fruit. I want this one. Black jade purple striped ginseng. 1000-year lava lotus. Chu Tian nodded in satisfaction. I want these 2 too. Chu Tian picked out several level 2 herbs. They were all elixir-grade treasures. This fellow's eyes were very sharp. They were the best of the herbs. Flame Ghost and Ice Demon didn't feel any pain. The bronze-masked old man was dead. Even if the caravan didn't disband, it would still be replaced. Even if they lost all these things, they wouldn't be able to find the person responsible. If the 2 of them brought back these precious blood-colored corpse cores, it would be the sect's greatest merit in 100 years. At that time, what would these resources count for? After Chu Tian took the most precious elixirs, he suddenly didn't know what to take, so he asked, are there any healing elixirs here? Healing elixirs? There's one. Flame Ghost personally took out a jade box. This is a pill that the elder bought for a high price in a foreign country. It's called the Good Fortune Pill. even if your bones are broken, it can be completely healed, there won't be any side effects. The elder wanted to give it to the sect as a tribute. If Brother Lu needs it, there's no harm in taking it. Not bad, not bad. These two brothers were quite loyal. Chu Tian bluntly took the pill, there was nothing else he needed here, so he prepared to leave. Brother Lu, wait. Flame Ghost called out to him. Brother Lu has a large amount of black corpse cores. Corpse cores don't have much use in southern Xia. Can you sell a portion to us? Ji. Chu Tian did not say anything. The little fox that was lying on Chu Tian's shoulder immediately stood up and called out to the two of them, scaring them. Corpse cores were its food. High-quality blood-colored corpse cores were exchanged for a pile of trash materials by its master. This already made the little fellow very unhappy. Now that they were going to take away a few snacks, wouldn't the little fox be starving? How could it be happy? Don't make trouble. Chu Tian patted the little fox and said to the two of them, what price do you want? Flame Ghost hesitated for a few minutes before saying, 10 low-grade source stones for each. 10 low-grade source stones. That was equivalent to 100,000 gold coins. In South Sky City, this was a large sum of money. Chu Tian had 300 black corpse cores in his pocket. How much money could he exchange them for? The company needed money, so Chu Tian did not hesitate. How about this? I'll sell 50 of them to you, I still have use for the rest. He still had to take care of the little fox's food. Otherwise, where would he find such a high-energy item? Chu Tian would go bankrupt because of its food. The little fox saw that its master kept most of it and reluctantly accepted it, but it was still very unhappy. It sat on Chu Tian's shoulder, its furry claws crossed, looking like a little ruffian. Brother Lu, your spirit beast is really interesting. I have never seen such a spiritual beast before. That's right, this should have been found in an ancient tomb, maybe it's an ancient species. The little fox spat out a mouthful of saliva and made a face with its two claws, expressing its disdain towards this so-called ancient species. The Flame Ghost brothers were even more shocked. How was this spiritual? It was simply a spirit. If the two of them knew that this fox had just been born, it was unknown just how shocked they would be. Don't mention it, it's just a wastrel fox, it doesn't have any skills. Here are 50 black corpse cores. Chu Tian ignored the little fellow's angry protests and handed over the money. A full 500 low-grade source stones. Chu Tian's mood was very good. Too damn good. But at the same time he felt very regretful. If he didn't have to take care of the little fox's food, he would have sold several hundred corpse cores and Chu Tian would have become rich. But no matter what. This trip to the black market, his harvest was huge. A large amount of spirit stones, 3 infant soul fruits, many top-quality elixirs, the netherworld sword, the netherworld ghost flame, the soul-controlling bell, several dozen corpse soldiers. That's right, there was also this unknown use for this wastrel fox that could eat a lot. Calculating the time. It had already been several days. Chu Tian had avoided most of the limelight, now it was time to go back. He had already matured, it was time to break through to the awakened soul realm. When Chu Tian returned to his room, there were 2 large beds inside. One bed had Xiang Hu lying on it and the other bed had a purple-clothed beautiful girl lying on it. The two of them were both unconscious, without any signs of waking up. What's the situation like? Xiang Hu has already stabilized, the purple lightning young master's situation is not good. Kai Dai said in a worried voice, all of her meridians have been destroyed by the Corpse King, I'm afraid it will be hard for her to live past today. Even if she is saved, her cultivation base will drop and she will suffer a lifelong injury. Chu Tian grabbed Yun Yao's wrist and examined her. The situation was indeed very bad, it was more serious than he had imagined. If he delayed the treatment, Yun Yao could become a cripple. Forget it. He would save her to the end. Chu Tian opened the jade box and took out a pill, giving it to Yun Yao. Kai Dai revealed a shocked expression. This is the good fortune pill. Even my father treasures this pill, you just gave it to her like this. Good fortune pill. This name was very famous. Actually, the refining method was very ordinary. Chu Tian didn't care too much about this. He helped Yun Yao heal her injuries. Her broken meridians were reconstructed one by one, and they were even stronger than before. Yun Yao could be considered to have profited from her misfortune. Cool. Yun Yao coughed a few times, her long eyelashes trembled, she slowly woke up. When she saw Chu Tian and Kai Dai, she revealed a surprised expression. I didn't die. Kai Dai gave a sigh and said, you almost died, Brother Lu used a good fortune pill to save you. Yun Yao revealed a look of disbelief. Why was that? Chu Tian spread out his hands and said, you owe me enough, if you died, where would you go to collect your debt? Yun Yao was very weak, she stared at him and said, the good fortune pill is indeed precious, but my Yun family can't pay it back. If you come to the Central State Yun family, I will definitely pay you back double. Chu Tian disdainfully curled his lips. What kind of conduct the Central State four great families have, do you think I don't know? Each of them eat people without spitting out their bones. Pay back the debt. It sounds nice, but it's good enough that you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Nonsense. Chu Tian's disdain towards the Yun family made Yun Yao very unhappy. My Yun family is different from the other three great families. We don't do business, we don't do politics, we don't join the army, we don't build a private army. Our grandfather Yun Tianhe is the Central State Academy's vice principal. Chapter 82. Yun Tianhe, Central State Academy's vice principal, had a good reputation and had students all over the world. Although the Yun family did not do politics, many of the officials in southern Xia came from the Yun sect. Although they did not do business, many of the merchants in southern Xia came from the Yun sect. All the large influences, mercenaries, and families had Yun family disciples. Because of this, they were different from the Chu, Yi, and Luo families. The Yun family had the support of Central State Academy, so they valued etiquette and morals, so they were able to establish a strong network and reputation. This was also the reason why the Yun family was able to stand tall. However, although the scholarly family was more upright, the family's influence and scale were large, so it was unavoidable for large families to have a problem. The young people were proud and arrogant. Since they were young, they were surrounded by the stars, so it was hard to avoid being arrogant. The unruly and eccentric granddaughter Yun Yao was a representative of this. It gave Yun Tianhe quite a headache. How could this fellow not have heard of Yun Tianhe's famous name? Was he even someone from Central State? Chu Tian did not care about this at all. What Central State Academy's principal, in this era, in this place, what kind of powerful person could there be? After Yun Yao's injuries stabilized, Chu Tian brought several black robes and wrapped the 18 corpse soldiers tightly. The Yin corpses were the biggest harvest of this adventure. 14 of the Yin corpses were at the second awakened soul layer and 4 of them were at the triple awakened soul layer. The corpse soldiers had hard bodies, were invulnerable, could use corpse poison, did not feel pain, did not fear death, and were absolutely loyal. Where else could he find such good guards? In South Sky City with a population of several million, there were only 20 to 30 awakened soul cultivators. Most of them were at the first awakened soul layer. Chu Tian had several dozen awakened soul cultivators, all of them were at the second or triple awakened soul layer. What kind of terrifying strength was this? Several dozen Yin corpses were like a small army. This would give Miracle Commerce, who was lacking in battle strength, a strong battle strength. Of course, the Yin corpses were not a perpetual motion machine. In the Yin Corpse Valley, they could absorb Yin Qi to maintain their battle strength, but once they left the Yin Corpse Valley, their recovery speed would become very slow. In a large city with Yang Qi, they would not be able to recover their strength. Chu Tian could only spend large amounts of money, buying heavy Yin Qi materials for the Yin corpses to fight and consume daily. This little bit of trouble, compared to the value of the 18 yin corpses, it was not worth mentioning. With miracle commerce's profitability, it was not like it couldn't support several yin corpses. What a pity. If Chu Tian had more time, he would bring back a few more. If he could control over 100 of these yin corpses, he would be an incomparably strong force in the central state main city. No one would dare provoke him. Nothing is perfect in this world. Chu Tian had nothing to be discontented about. This time, he had come to the black market to lie low, but his gains had already exceeded his expectations by 10 times. He didn't know what the situation in South Sky City was like. Were the young Miss and Ying Ying doing well? With this power in hand, Chu Tian had the confidence to protect them. No one could bully miracle commerce anymore. The next day, Yun Yao was cultivating in the courtyard. Her injuries had basically stabilized. At this time, Chu Tian was carrying a large bag, passing through the courtyard. There were 18 black-robed people following behind him, looking like they were on a long journey. Yun Yao's expression was a bit unnatural. Hey, aren't you going to the main city, to the Yun family? What, you don't want to collect your debt? Chu Tian's potential was too big. Now he had several treasures and 18 tyrannical yin corpses. If she could recruit this person for the family, her grandfather would be very happy. I will definitely go to the main city. Chu Tian shook his head and said, now is not the time. Yun Yao quickly asked, where are you from? Where do you live? How do I find you? Why are you asking so many questions? It can't be that after saving you twice, you want to repay me with your body. Then let me tell you, you'll have to line up first. Chu Tian gave a snort and arrogantly said, but I advise you not to have too much hope. I've already said it many times, you're not my type. That's enough. This damn narcissist. Yun Yao flew into a rage, affecting her injuries and almost spitting out a mouthful of blood. If she wasn't injured, she would have slapped him in half with a palm. Don't be angry, I'm just this honest. Chu Tian gave a laugh, not joking around anymore. He changed the topic and said, I have a bit of time right now, your cultivation technique is a bit interesting. Come, practice it once for me to see. Yun Yao vigilantly said, Humph, you want to secretly learn the Yun family's secret technique? Pay. What secret technique? Your family's cultivation technique isn't even shit in my eyes. Chu Tian gave a snort, my mood today is not bad, so I was prepared to give you a few pointers. Since you don't want this chance, then forget it. We'll meet again. Chu Tian turned to leave. Wait. Alright, I'll practice it once, just once. Yun Yao did not know why she agreed to Chu Tian's request. This ordinary-looking youth gave her an unfathomable feeling. She wouldn't lose anything anyway. A cultivation technique wasn't something that could be learned just because one wanted to. Chu Tian's source spirit's attribute was different from the Yun family's cultivation technique. Even if he knew the Yun family's cultivation technique, it would be useless. The Yun family's cultivation technique didn't have any value to him. The Yun family's cultivation technique is the most abundant in Central State City. The Yun school includes hundreds of families from all over the world. This lightning blitz secret art is based on one of the 6 secret arts of Central State Academy, the Thunder Cry secret art. After several generations of the Yun family's evolution and improvement, it has now become a high-class cultivation technique. Like a sudden clap of thunder, 10,000 men can't block it. The lightning blitz secret art's might is not inferior to the Central State's #1 offensive soul sword secret art. Open your eyes wide and watch. Yun Yao began to demonstrate the cultivation technique. Chu Tian calmly watched from beginning to end. Every time it reached a critical moment, he would open his mind's eye to observe it. This lightning blitz secret art was a cultivation technique that focused on destructive power, but Yun Yao had already reached the realm of mastery. Yun Yao slowly stopped and proudly said, how is it? Chu Tian gave a brief evaluation. It's not hard to see from this cultivation technique that the central state Yun family is only a so-so. It's full of flaws, it doesn't make sense at all. It only has power, but it doesn't have the essence. If you practice this cultivation technique, the early stages will be strong, but the later stages will not be enough and it will become weaker and weaker. After you reach the 6th awakened soul layer, it will be hard to advance any further. A cultivation technique was the foundation of any family. Chu Tian's evaluation of the Yun family's lightning blitz secret art was simply slapping the Yun family's face. Chu Tian did not wait for Yunyao to explode and immediately cut her off. I'll help you improve it a bit. Just you. Improve? The Yun family had been passed down for several hundred years and this lightning blitz secret art had been improved by countless Yun family geniuses and experts. It was already close to perfection and could not be improved any further. This fellow's tone was too big, he actually wanted to help the Yun family improve this cultivation technique. I'll only say it once. As for how much you can remember, that will depend on your own luck. Chu Tian carefully corrected the lightning blitz secret art cultivation technique. Yunyao was completely disdainful at first, but after listening to 2 sentences, she was completely stunned. This was because the place that Chu Tian had pointed out and corrected was the key to the lightning blitz secret art. Her grandfather Yun Tianhe had also mentioned this place before. It was indeed a place that the lightning blitz secret art needed to be improved on. But although her grandfather had found the problem, he had not found a way to solve it. Yun Tianhe had studied it for many years without any results. Chu Tian could actually point it out in 1 sentence. Was this possible? Had he seen the lightning blitz secret art before? Chu Tian's thoughts were very clear as he changed the lightning blitz secret art word by word. Yunyao became more and more shocked as she listened. How was this improving? It was almost like he had turned the lightning blitz secret art into a completely new cultivation technique. A normal person would not be able to completely understand a cultivation technique even if they studied it for a lifetime. But not only did Chu Tian understand all the mysteries of the lightning blitz secret art after listening to it once, he had also made large changes to it, turning it into a completely different cultivation technique. I'm done. How much you can comprehend will depend on yourself. Chu Tian turned around. Goodbye, take care. Chu Tian had already walked far away. Yunyao acted like she did not hear anything. She was like a statue that did not move at all. She had completely fallen into a wonderful state of comprehension. Every word that Chu Tian had said was like thunder exploding in her ears, giving her a feeling of enlightenment. She could clearly feel it. She had reached a bottleneck. Too profound, too obscure, she could not understand most of it. But her intuition told Yunyao that the changes that Chu Tian had made were all correct. If it was Chu Tian's cultivation path that she did not understand before, she would now understand everything. She suddenly understood. Creating something from nothing. Cultivation was this mysterious. Yunyao pondered for a full 10 minutes. Suddenly she clenched her fists and a lightning mark appeared between her eyebrows. She began to slowly cultivate according to the new method. Every time she cultivated, her comprehension deepened a little. After the 10th time, a large door suddenly opened. Yunyao felt like she had entered a whole new world. In that instant, an endless amount of power entered her body. She gave a long roar into the sky. Lightning soared into the sky. An endless might covered the entire black market. The cultivators in the black market were all shocked. He broke through. An expert has broken through. Such a strong aura, he has at least broken through to the 4th awakened soul layer. Everyone began to discuss. The black market was filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Although there were experts breaking through, there were not many 4th awakened soul layer experts in Central State, so it attracted everyone's attention. At this moment, at the entrance of the black market camp, the cold wind rustled. Chu Tian turned around and mounted the large horse. He looked back at the center of the camp, at the place where the lightning was soaring into the sky. He couldn't help but reveal a faint smile. Your perception is not bad, this child is worth teaching. The little fox curled its lips in disdain. Master really was too arrogant. Isn't it just changing a few cultivation techniques? This fox can also do it. Brother Lu, you're going to leave like this? You're in too much of a rush. Kai Dai walked in front of Chu Tian. Xiang, who stood on the side with his walking stick, the two of them had personally come to the entrance to send Chu Tian off. The news of the 10,000 corpse ancient tomb will spread sooner or later. I have things from the ancient tomb on me. If I continue to stay in the black market, I will attract everyone's attention, so I have to leave. Chu Tian took out 2 crystal jars from his bag. Everyone I meet is a friend, meeting each other can be considered fate. So before I leave, I'll give you a present. Old brother Xiang, this is for you, a level 2 elixir. Xiang, who did not dare believe it, too. Level 2 elixir. This is too precious. Xiang, who was a 9th body refinement layer rogue cultivator, not to mention a level 2 elixir, even a level 1 elixir was very precious to him. Kai Dai, I specially prepared this for you. I don't lack elixirs. Kai Dai held a jar filled with a bright red elixir. Her face was filled with worry as she said, moreover, elixirs are a waste for me. This thing is different, it's a level 2 elixir, blood marrow lingji. Chu Tian slowly said, it's not that useful for normal people, but it's different for you. If I'm not wrong, you have innately terminated meridians. Kai Dai's eyes flashed with a trace of shock. How did he know my physique? Could it be that he knew my identity from the start? Xiang, who was shocked. Innately terminated meridians? Also from Central State, could it be that person? She was very famous in Central State. If Kai Dai really was her, then it would be incredible. Chapter 83. With naturally terminated meridians, their meridians would be sealed and they would not be able to cultivate, destined to be a normal person for the rest of their life. At least in southern Xia it was like this. Chu Tian did not know Kai Dai's identity and did not notice Xiang Hu's shock. Naturally terminated meridians cannot absorb spirit energy, so they are unable to cultivate, but your cultivation base is not weak. I think, there must be a very strong expert that refined a large amount of heaven and earth treasures and directly poured them into your body. This kind of expert is not simple, so Kai Dai, your identity is not simple. Kai Dai revealed an awkward expression. He really did not know my identity. Otherwise, he would not have acted this naturally. Kai Dai was not willing to talk about her family, she only asked in a curious voice, you still haven't told me, what is the use of the blood marrow lingji? Naturally terminated meridians are a kind of innate defect, in other words, it is a kind of innate disease. Since it is an illness, it can be cured. Your situation is not serious, I think it can be improved with medicine, the blood marrow lingji is one of the main medicines. Impossible, naturally terminated meridians cannot be cured. If you trust me, then give it a try. Chu Tian handed over a roll of paper, this is the formula, go back and collect the medicine. Then with the help of an expert at the 5th awakened soul layer or higher, you will be able to recover to a normal person in 10 days. Kai Dai had a dazed expression. Was there really a hope of becoming a normal person? Kai Dai left home because she could not stand the strange looks of other people, she did not want to see her father waste a large amount of resources on her. I've finished my mission, I should go. Chu Tian gave a lazy stretch, you guys take care of yourselves, the mountains don't move but the water does, we will meet again one day. After saying this, Chu Tian pulled on the reins and waved the whip. The horse neighed and galloped away, kicking up a cloud of dust. He had done what he needed to do. He no longer had any worries about the black market, so he left without looking back. The little fox was sitting on his shoulder, waving its little claws, saying goodbye to the two of them in place of its master. Kai Dai held the medicine pot and the formula, her face filled with excitement and longing. Being able to meet this strange youth like Lu Ren, she was really too lucky. A physique that even her father was helpless against. Was the youth's method really effective? No matter what, Kai Dai had decided, she would go back and give it a try. She had a strong intuition that this young man was not an ordinary person, perhaps she could really create a miracle. Xiang, who seemed to become very frightened, I did not expect, you are. Kai Dai revealed a faint smile and made a shushing gesture, this is a secret, don't tell anyone else. Xiang, who is both excited and nervous. When the two of them were about to return to the black market. Lu Ren. A purple figure hurriedly ran over. She had a graceful figure and exquisite curves. Her face was covered with a veil, and her entire body was enveloped in a layer of dignified and holy aura. It was a beautiful woman. However, at this moment, his face was full of anxiety as he ran to the two of them. Where did Lu Ren go? I'm convinced. Yun Yao was really impressed. Lu Ren was a master that only appeared once in 1,000 years. Even the heavenly sword young master Chu Xinghe could not compare to this person. Such a character was completely beyond the scope of understanding. His value was simply immeasurable. The Yun family was a family of scholars. If they could recruit Lu Ren into their family, it would truly be a great fortune for the Yun family and a blessing for the entire central state. Easily changing the Yun family's martial arts. In just a few words, he revealed the mystery. Yun Yao had been stuck at the triple awakened soul for a very long time and she could not see any hope of breaking through. It was for this reason that Yun Yao had fallen far behind the other three young masters. Who would have thought that a flower planted intentionally would not bloom, but a willow planted unintentionally would become shade? This bottleneck that Yun Yao did not know when she would be able to break through, was easily broken by this fellow Lu Ren. Yun Yao could finally raise her head again, she had the capital to compete with the other three young masters. Xiang, whose expression was strange as he said, you came too late, he has already left. You really don't know how to be a person. Kai Dai seemed to be somewhat dissatisfied, Brother Lu has saved your life several times. If he leaves, you won't send him off. Yun Yao was stunned. Left? He left just like that. Yun Yao's expression was complex, she was somewhat dazed. That boundless wilderness that was shrouded in a dense fog, just like this young man's identity, no one could see through him. Would this farewell be forever? Lu Ren kept saying that he wanted to go to the Yun family to collect a debt, but how could Yun Yao not see through it? Lu Ren was a strange person, he was naturally free and unrestrained, he did not care about a bit of benefits, his actions were all based on his mood. Yun Yao actually hoped that he would come. If he really haggled over every ounce and went to the Yun family to collect a debt, that would not be like him. What they didn't expect was that Chu Tian had always been in disguise and using an alias. On one hand, it was to avoid the Yi and Chu families' assassinations, and on the other hand, it was to protect himself during the exploration. So, whether it was Yun Yao or Kai Dai, if they wanted to use his appearance and name to investigate Chu Tian's true identity, it was impossible. Chu Tian had not revealed any information about his identity from beginning to end. Because other than the harvest from the ancient tomb, Chu Tian had revealed a few of his trump cards, for example his shadow source spirit, he did not want anyone to know about it. Kai Dai's identity was not simple. Yun Yao was one of the most famous talents in Central State City. Xiang, who was born mediocre, but with this experience, he could follow the two of them to Central State City, his future cultivation path would be much smoother. As for whether they could meet again, Chu Tian would never consider this question. 3 days later. A young man wearing a gray robe, carrying a simple treasure sword on his back, walked into South Sky City covered in dust. Over 10 silent black-robed people, neatly lined up behind him, following him like loyal servants. 10 days. An entire 10 days. What kind of situation was everyone in? The streets of South Sky City seemed to be filled with a strange atmosphere, there were patrolling soldiers everywhere, the flow of people was much smaller than usual. What happened? Why was the atmosphere so depressing? Chu Tian felt that something was wrong. He did not have time to think about it. He immediately ran home to see what was going on. When Chu Tian stood in front of the Meng family's door, his eyes almost popped out. What was going on? Where was the house? In front of Chu Tian was a black ruin. The house had all been burnt. There was still some residual heat. It seemed like it happened not too long ago. There were several ordinary soldiers cleaning up the ruins. Brat, what are you doing? Don't you know the words on the road? You can't enter here. A soldier captain with a cigarette in his mouth impatiently waved his hand. Get out of the way, don't disturb our work. Captain, what happened here? Why do you care so much? What happened is none of your business. Chu Tian took out a gold coin and handed it over. Io, little brother, I can tell you're not a simple person, you must have just arrived, right? When the captain saw the gold coin, his eyes lit up and his face changed faster than flipping a book. Little brother, don't meddle in other people's business. Central State Ya family and Chu family are not people we can offend. Isn't this? If we offend them, they'll tear down the house. Chu Tian calmly asked, what exactly happened? The captain took a drag on his cheap cigarette, threw it to the ground. Don't mention it. Who told Chu Tian to be too wild, recklessly offending the Ya family and Chu family? Can these two families be offended so casually? They sent over 10 experts to South Sky City to get back at them, but in the end South Sky City was in a foul atmosphere, causing everyone in the city to have a hard time. At this point, the captain's face was also gloomy. Chu Tian asked again, then why was this place attacked? The captain's nostrils let out a light snort. Do you still need to ask? South Sky City was turned upside down, tossed around in a big circle. That brat seems to have disappeared from the face of the earth. How could Yi Xiong and the others not be angry? In their anger, they took out their anger on the Meng family's young miss. These two young misses' friendship with Chu Tian is not shallow. They were prepared to force Chu Tian to come out. A soldier at the side said, what's the use? Chu Tian most likely ran away in fear. Another soldier angrily said, wasn't that brat very wild? How did he run away so quickly this time? He ran away, but the Meng family's two beauties have been harmed by him. You can't say that. A real man doesn't stand under a collapsing wall. If you knew that 10 awakened soul cultivators were coming to kill you, would you not run? Even if he wanted to run, he should have brought the beauties with him. This brat only cared about running away. That's right, he's too disappointing. I thought he had a lot of backbone, but he's just a coward. The soldiers spoke one after another. The Meng sisters being implicated made the soldiers feel indignant. The revenge of the several great families shrouded the entire city in a shadow of terror. No one was happy. Chu Tian's anger rose to his head. How are the Meng family's two young misses now? Mayor Nangong, Master Zhang, and General Xiong came out at the critical moment and saved the Meng family's two young misses. The captain lit a cigarette for himself. This area was destroyed during the conflict. Where are they now? Are they injured? I say, who are you? Why are you asking so many questions? The captain was a little unhappy. The two young misses were taken to the mayor's palace yesterday. It was said that the Ye family's experts suddenly attacked the young miss and it was the second miss who blocked it. She was seriously injured by a single palm strike. It seems to be very serious, but I don't know if she's dead or not. Nonsense. She's most likely dead. You suffered a palm strike from an awakened soul cultivator, but you survived for me to see. That's right. That was the power of an awakened soul cultivator. A body refinement cultivator has no chance of surviving. Fuck. He injured Ying. Chu Tian's anger completely exploded. Chu Tian's body released a terrifying aura, causing the soldiers to jump in fright. Chu Tian wiped his face with his hand and a faint light flashed. His facial features changed and in an instant, he returned to his original appearance. You're Chu Tian. The soldiers almost collapsed in fright. Wasn't there a rumor in South Sky City that Chu Tian had already escaped? Why did this fellow appear again? Coming back now was tantamount to seeking his own death. These people had just silently cursed Chu Tian. If Chu Tian became angry because of this, then even if they had several lives, it wouldn't be enough to kill him. You guys listen to me. Chu family, yeah family. I, Chu Tian, have never been afraid of them. I will let them know that they have to pay the price for doing things. Chu Tian coldly snorted and walked towards the mayor's palace. Since he had already shed all pretense of cordiality, then this time he might as well do it a bit more thoroughly. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.